Rossi on a Friday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. 201, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We're going to start off with some local news here as the Cardinals will not retain hitting coach Turner Ward.
Well, it was all his fault.
Yeah. It was all his fault. He had Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, and they both underperformed. So get this guy out of here.
He told them to forget everything they knew.
Yeah, he certainly did. Yeah, so in the wake of the Cardinals' announcement earlier this week at the press conference that John Mozeliak will be retained for the final year, Chaim Bloom signed the 5-year deal. The first coaching domino has fallen again. Hitting coach Turner Ward really was, he wore a lot of the criticism when it came to the offense, what hitting coach doesn't. It's basically works like this in Major League Baseball with the fan base and the media. If your offense is good, the players are great. If the offense is bad, the hitting coach must go.
Yep.
That's just kind of the formula. But they have not announced their coaching staff for next season. Mo said earlier in the week that he and Marmol would discuss the final staff in the coming days. Ward's contract was set to expire this offseason, so
they didn't really fire him. They just didn't retain him.
Exactly. They didn't retain him. So this season, the Cardinals offense, they averaged 4.15 runs per game. The league average was 4.39. So Carey, they're below average offensively. They ranked 11th in batting average at 248, 14th in on base at 312, 19th in slugging percentage, which is 392, and I'm surprised they're even 19th in slug. Their 165 home runs were 22nd out of 30 Major League Baseball teams. The worst of it all, they batted 229 with runners in scoring position, 27th out of the 30 Major League teams. So Turner Ward is gone.
I wish I knew just how much of an impact the hitting coach has on a team. All I ever hear when people talk baseballs, they have a good approach. Okay, what's a good approach? Mm-hmm. Honestly, because players talk about changing their approach and this guy's approach, that guy's. What is a good approach? Not swinging at bad pitches? Well, no
That's
kidding.
one of them. Yeah.
No kidding.
Usually it's think up the middle. Oh. Get something you can drive.
Okay.
Don't chase. If he's got 5 pitches, eliminate 3 of them.
Okay. So basically a good approach means be smart.
Be smart, have an idea how you want to attack the pitcher.
Good.
Yeah.
I just wondered because all I hear, he had a bad approach, not at bat.
Yeah.
What?
It's not like a pilot in his approach on landing.
Yeah. I think to me it's like
here we go. Got a new version. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. You know that the pitcher throws first pitch fastballs and you decide to take a first pitch fastball down the middle.
Right.
That's a bad approach.
Sure.
And that goes into the analytics, the scouting, knowing what a pitcher is throwing and what he tends to throw, and you just not doing any of that.
Right.
So what happens, guys, if each player thinks differently? So, we just said something, and then Marcy says, well, I look at it as, not looking into the analytics. Okay, so now we've got 2 layers of an approach. Then we add a third and a fourth player. We might have 3 or 4 different layers for the approach. Mm-hmm. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Sure.
It starts to get pretty friggin' complicated. So now I know why some batters are standing up there watching strike 3 go in, because they're thinking about 52 other things at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, this is where he throws his changeup. I think I looked at the dugout. I'm supposed to lay off this one, right? This is my approach, right? Yeah, you got it. You're good. Strike 3. I think things have gotten so complicated. Mm-hmm. I understand there's certain analytics or certain patterns from pitchers, but I feel like, and I don't think the Cardinals are the only ones, but it's gotten so complicated that the young batters especially are up there, and they're like the fainting goat. You ever see those videos of the fainting goat?
Yep.
They're running, they fall down. It's like the batters are up there, they're up there, and either they just swing wildly or they don't swing at all, and they're gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This doesn't have anything to do with Turner Ward. That's just my own off the rails.
But you do bring up an interesting point about the hitting coach and what is involved. So a hitting coach before every game, you'll have the hitters meetings. Hey, this is what he throws here. If he gets you 3-2, or if he gets to 3-2, or if he gets you behind, he's more likely to throw this. His last game, like you'll get all of the scouting report. But to me, a hitting coach is most valuable when a guy is in a slump. Because even if you're a veteran hitter and you know how to work in and out of slumps, still having the extra eyes on you during your batting practice or during a game has got to be useful. And if the hitting coach isn't helping you work out of your slumps, then anybody can hand you the information on the opposing pitcher. You know what I mean? Anybody can say, hey, Jamie Rivers, Carey, throws his changeup for a strike on
it's filthy. It's nasty.
7 of his first pitches to righties, whatever. That information is already there. You don't need the hitting coach to do that. But for me, it's like when somebody, you have to have intimate knowledge of what Paul Goldschmidt's doing, and when he's out of whack or out of sync, this is what you show him. Like that to me is what a hitting coach is.
No, I agree with that 100%. And that's for a lot of things. And that's not just baseball and your at-bat or your approach. It's any sport. If Carey Davis performs well certain games because he has certain things that he's doing properly, and then he goes on 2 or 3 games and doesn't play good, you go back to the good games. Hey, Carey, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Same for me. If I'm making bonehead plays that I didn't make 2 or 3 games before, you go back and show, hey, you're looking at the ice much better here. You found guys here. It should be the same in baseball.
Yeah.
Especially for experienced hitters like Goldie, Arenado, Contreras, like your guys that have been in the league for a while.
Sure.
I think you simplify it.
So for me, I said this months ago, the Turner Ward would be the fall guy. Mm-hmm. And listen to Chris Carter, get your fall guy. They got one. They found him. They blamed him. There are so many things that you could point to. Like when you're looking at analytics, like you can go over, this is what the pitcher is going to do. This is what we expect him to do. These are what the numbers show us. 80% of the time he throws this pitch in this situation. But at the end of the day, if he throws something different, it's on the batter to respond and react. Like I can give you all of the information in the world, but when it's time to play the game, you have to respond. You have to react to what you're actually seeing in that moment, as opposed to being like the fainting sheep, you're falling over when you get stuck. Like your paralysis by analysis is what we call it. Sometimes you have too much information. Just play the game. And I don't blame Turner Ward for Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt not hitting well. That's their job. Mm-hmm. That's their job to perform in those moments, and they were unable to. It's not necessarily on him solely, but you do have to find one person. I said this: they're not going to fire Ollie. They're going to fire somebody from the staff. It's like a head coach football coach when he has to fire the OC.
Yeah,
you're not going to fire. They're going to fire me. But that offense, 3rd down conversions were lacking. Yep, you got to go. Like you fire someone in close proximity to the head coach, to the manager, and use that as the catalyst for saying, hey, guys, you know who's next. Like, if we don't get this right, you know who's on deck to be fired next. So that's just how professional sports go. Turner Ward just happened to fall, victim to his players, the guys that are supposed to perform, not performing.
Yep.
Doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean he's at fault for what took place. But you got to find somebody.
And you need to offer some sort of solution too. You can't continue to run it back the same way if you know it isn't working. It doesn't mean it fixes the problem though. But you got to try. You got to get somebody in there that's going to be a good communicator, who you think is going to be a good communicator, and help it, especially if you've got a young team moving forward here.
And who's to say he wasn't telling them the correct things to do and they weren't doing it?
Well, that's part of it too. You could be a good teacher, but
if the student is not, doing the things that you're coaching them to do, how's that? You've got to find someone to blame. I don't blame him solely for the fault of the St. Louis Cardinals this season.
So
the lineup.
Sorry, Carey.
No,
this is an area right now where, when John Mozeliak and Bill DeWitt Jr. spoke about, well, we're going to trim the payroll salary on the Major League roster, and we're going to dive into the development of our players. We're going to sink those funds into development. This is an opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. I've sat and thought about this most of the day after I heard the news. If the Cardinals just hire one hitting coach, they've missed the mark. They've missed it. What they need to do is hire someone who's going to have a hitting philosophy. So I'll use Jeff Albert loosely here because I know
they did go that route.
I know. I'll use Jeff Albert loosely here and has philosophy. And that guy will be in the shadows. I don't even need to see him in the dugout wearing a uniform. It doesn't matter to me because that guy will oversee the minor league development and the major league development from an elevated view. Going through the analytics, the video, and all that. Shouldn't even deal with the players because what he's trying to do is create a system for this organization to hit better. You don't need that guy confusing players with numbers and all this other crap. Then I think you get maybe one or two hitting coaches that are there on a daily basis working with each player, taking the information that they get from whatever they're getting game by game by game, but then not handing the iPad to the players, coming to the player at the batting cages the next day and working through it. Like hockey does a lot of that, where the coach will grab a guy on the ice before practice or after practice and say, hey, let's work on this. Player doesn't really know why he's working on it, but you don't say no to the coach. It's because he's noticed something along the way here and you need to work on it. So I think like 3 people for this role. I think that's one way to pump up your hitting system, your philosophy, without making it so paralysis by analysis, like Carey said.
Yeah. I
don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. I mean, it's possible.
No, you're not an idiot. They tried that with Jeff Albert. It doesn't mean that they got the right guy though. It doesn't mean that the idea.
Yeah, but Jeff Albert was around
work
all the time.
You're right.
And him and Buddha were clashing and all that stuff. I'm talking about a guy like Jeff Albert.
In the background.
If nobody ever saw him.
Right.
So that the players don't look at that guy and go, oh, that's the numbers guy,
Yeah.
And when he comes over and talks to you, he's taken the knowledge out of the hands of an experienced hitting coach, preferably a former player, that can come over and help. And now he's contradicting, or maybe he's explaining it wrong. And now the player's like, I don't know who to listen to. No, I don't want that. One guy oversee the whole hitting philosophy.
Right.
Don't need to see him. Like the Wizard of Oz. Put him behind the curtain. I don't care. And then you have a couple of former players that can come and communicate the message properly and work with the guys and figure things out. That's just my thought.
That's Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. I watched that game last night, Thursday Night Football.
You enjoyed it, didn't you?
I enjoyed every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some apologies for Kirky football. Yeah.
Proud of you.
Guys, I stand before you a humbled man. Kirky football's legit. I don't know if everything I said about him is going to be wrong by the end of the season, but again, humble pie coming for me next on 101 ESPN. Great news. If you need a vehicle and you missed out on the Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum Fall into Savings event last month, good news is you didn't actually miss it because that event has been extended. So we're talking about low financing rates available right now, like 0% APR on Pathfinders and Rogues and Altimas, plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on Frontier. Low lease payment options like $329 per month on 2024 Rogues are also available. In addition, Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum, they have financing specials on select inventory, like no payments for 3 months or no money down, and you could give your wallet a break and your bank account a break with that offer. If you're looking for an affordable brand new vehicle, Auto Center's Nissan, they have 2024 Nissan Kicks and Sentras and Versas, all priced below $23,000 right now, as well as the 2024 Rogues and Altimas starting below $30,000. So you're going to find a great deal. You're going to get that vehicle financed, and you're going to find either a new or pre-owned vehicle because they have over 700 vehicles all in one location out in Herculaneum. They have also the 30-day new car return promise, the complimentary Nissan maintenance plan, as well as the complimentary lifetime warranty. So head out there to Herculaneum this weekend. Tell them Stalter sent you, and you can also start online if you want to peruse some of the vehicles at AutoCentersNissan.com.
Mooney moving. That's fired. That's caught. And that is Hodge. And Hodge is going to take it to the end zone. A most improbable win for the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, you heard Al Michaels on the call last night as Kadero Hodge took it to the house in overtime. Falcons beat the Bucs 36-30. Wild game, entertaining game. You also heard Kirk Cousins in the locker room there with the first "you like that" to the Falcons locker room, which really looked like it celebrated as it just won the Super Bowl. But it was a big.
Seriously, that was a lot of celebrating.
It was a lot of celebrating.
Who did more celebrating, the Falcons last night or the New York Mets?
Probably the Falcons.
How about my Mets?
Wow. We'll get into that.
Yeah, baby.
Let's take a step back for a second. What a great sports night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not if you're in Milwaukee or Tampa, but otherwise, what a fun sports night.
So let's go in order. Okay? Blues win a big preseason game.
Yeah.
Division rival. Mm-hmm. We got the Atlanta Falcons with a overtime win over the Bucs. And then we got the New York Mets in the top of the ninth inning, just boom, shakalaka.
Big old polar bear getting it done when
That big
Oppo
goofy
Taco.
guy.
Yeah, big strong guy.
I was actually cheering for him last night. I hate him.
I know. I kind of felt like, I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty cool moment, right?
And when he did the chef's kiss, like
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't help himself.
Yeah.
I told you, he's that dork that thinks he's cool.
Right.
They're the most dangerous kind.
he was cool in that moment.
They do weird stuff.
They do. I do feel bad that it came against local product, Devin Williams.
He was tipping his pitches.
Well, we'll get into that again. But
baby.
all right, so going back to the Falcons OT thriller against the Bucs. I'm being serious in this. I watched that game and I was humbled. Like, Kirk Cousins put on a show. He was sensational, and everybody knows my feelings about Kirk Cousins. I don't know if I'll inevitably still be proven right later on in the season, but I can't sit there and watch him do what he did last night, still not fully healthy, and not admit that I've been way too hard on that dude. I mean, he was phenomenal last night. He picked apart Tampa. Tampa down Antoine Winfield. They lost another safety, Whitehead, during the game. Still, Cousins took a beating. He hung in the pocket repeatedly. He found open receiver after open receiver. The throw to Darnell Mooney in the end zone. I mean, that's in triple coverage, but he put it only in the spot that Mooney could get.
As I watched that play, I thought, this is such a Kirk Cousins moment. He's going to get all the way down the field, throw it into triple coverage, and get an interception. And he did. This is before the play happened. I was like, he's going to throw it into like triple coverage.
Yeah.
And he did, but he threaded the needle on that one.
It was a perfect pass. It had to be that fine, but he did it. The one to Kadero Hodge at the end, the game winner.
Yeah.
You had the Bucs corner on that play closing in to knock that thing away. It had to be perfect. It was, and Hodge did the rest. I got to give it to Kirk Cousins, man. I've been very, I've crushed that dude constantly. I know he's somebody that does compile a lot of stats throughout the regular season. Then, ultimately his teams tend to fall short, and that might still happen. But for now, I ain't gonna criticize the dude that threw for 500-something yards. He to me was flawless last night.
Yeah, 509 yards to be precise. And this is the one, though, that really gets me thinking is he was averaging 8.8 yards per throw.
Yeah, he wasn't dinking and dunking.
That's not the 3.5 to 4 yards per throw. Mm-mm. So maybe there's something going on in Atlanta where they have taken a very solid quarterback and built a playbook for him, but also worked with him at maybe, improving a little bit. Even though the veteran guys are there, they're not beyond improving their game.
Sure.
And so maybe there's something that Atlanta's figured out with Kirky Cousins that has him looking like freaking Tom Brady here right now.
Maybe.
I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought that game was outstanding. The play, clock management by the Falcons at the end was spectacular. Those are the things you work on in practice. Like, everything you saw from Atlanta yesterday was what you want to see from a team that is going to be competitive and win a division. I don't know how far they go, in the NFC, but I know that they are. And I said it yesterday, and I'm the only one in the room that picked the Falcons to win.
Yeah, we got some work to do in the Pick'em Challenge.
Because I know, just watching, and I didn't know he was going to throw for 500 plus yards, but Kirk Cousins. They are a good team. This is a really good team. They had a really bad game against the Steelers opening night. It didn't look great for them. It didn't look great for Kirk. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket. He looked like his Achilles was still healing. Last night, he looked spectacular. They lost to the Chiefs. They were close enough to win that game as well. This is a team that, and Bijan didn't even get going last night. He didn't have
he had one run.
He had one big run where he makes people miss, and it's delightful to watch. But they didn't give him the ball. They didn't start giving him the ball till third quarter, fourth quarter. He had 12 carries. Kirk was spectacular last night. Drake London showed up. This is probably the best year I've seen him have so far in his NFL career.
He's a gamer.
He is a ball player, and they kept feeding him. For me, going into that game, Darnell Mooney was the best receiver because that's the guy that they had been getting the ball to the most. Last night, Drake London showed up. Kyle Pitts showed up. They all had their role last night. And then you throw the game-winning touchdown, missed by the defense, by the D-back, and Hodge goes in and scores the game-winning touchdown. That was a really good football game from the Atlanta Falcons. It was a good game from the Buccaneers as well.
Yeah, Baker had 3 touchdowns.
But he only had 180.
Lacked on yards.
Yeah, 180-something yards.
Yeah,
he wasn't throwing for.
That's my bet the board pick.
He wasn't throwing for a lot of yards.
Stupid Baker.
But he did have 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins showed up and showed the NFL, and this is why they're paid. This is why I get paid so much money. You all ask, you specifically, Mr. Stalter, ask, well, who is he holding hostage? How does he get it? And I'll show you.
I still have that question.
Yeah.
But I'm now more humble. I'm now more humble.
He was awesome
after watching him last night.
Awesome.
I'm being dead serious.
I've been trying to tell you guys, Kirk is a good quarterback. However, don't be shocked if he throws a $125 next week and has a fumbled snap and they sneak out a win 17-13 against the Panthers.
That's kind of who he is. I don't know if we necessarily learned anything about Kirk last night that we already, because he has had not a game like that, but he's had unbelievable games before. He's had great games before where you've come in and you're like, listen, Kirk Cousins is the greatest thing since Joe Montana, and then the following week it's a little ugly.
He had the same number of 400-yard passing games as one Patrick Mahomes.
This season?
No.
Oh, in NFL history?
On primetime games. That's what the stat they showed last night.
Yeah, the primetime thing he is debunked now. I mean, he really has. So a couple of other things here. One, the Falcons could easily be 0-5. Easily. They can also easily be 5-0.
Yes. That I agree with.
Seriously. Yeah. I mean, if like the Steelers game, they had the ball. He threw. Yeah. He was bad in that game. He threw the interception at the end while they were driving. The Chiefs game, where Pitts got mugged in the end zone, and they had a horror. I mean, the Steelers, or not the Steelers, the Chiefs. Bolden had an unbelievable play to crush Bijan at the end, and then the other game that they're 3-2.
Yeah.
But the Eagles game, they could have easily lost. They could have easily lost that one. It's just a weird team. But I will say this. 5 games in, there have been no gimmies. You faced the Steelers, who were a playoff team last year and could be this year. You have faced the Eagles, who were a playoff team last year and could be this year. You face the Chiefs. They, speak for themselves. Saints, who looked like world beaters to start the year, and the Bucs last night. So they have had 0 gimmies. They got to go to Carolina next week, so that's kind of their first light game. But otherwise, the Falcons being 3-2 right now, they could. I thought for sure they might be 0-5.
Yeah.
After the first week of the season.
They look good.
Can you explain though because they got criticized?
Yes.
For the Younghoe coup when they lined up for the game tying field goal, and they got the delay of game, and they're getting killed right now.
So you can go to YouTube, or if you watch the game from the broadcast view, you can actually see the referee is standing over the football, which indicates to the offense or the kicking team, you're not allowed to snap it. He's literally standing over the ball with his hand raised, and the play clock is running down. You'll see the holder pump his arm up in the air, which means reset the play clock. The kicker does the same thing. They called a penalty, and then it cuts to Raheem Morris on the sideline. He's standing over the ball. We can't snap it. How are you calling a penalty on us? That was poor. That was the word I want to say. It was really bad by the referees to not reset the play clock and give them a 5-yard penalty, knowing that the referee is literally standing over. I showed you in March, I said he's standing over the ball. Like, people are criticizing the special teams coach or Raheem Morris saying he doesn't know what he's doing. How do you get a penalty there? It ain't his fault. Look at the YouTube. Look at the game. The referee. And what bothered me more is the broadcast. They didn't say anything. Right. They actually cut to the referee standing over the football, and they're talking about, I don't know how he gets a penalty. Why would they expect him to set the clock back? Why would they? Bro, the man is standing on the football. He's not allowing the snapper to snap it. None of y'all see this?
Yeah, it wasn't like they weren't on the field. So that'd be different. They were all lined up. You see linemen with their hands on their hips just waiting for the referee to move. Mm-hmm. And in that instance, usually, when they let the clock run down, they'll reset the play clock. Mm-hmm. They didn't do it. Cost them a 5-yard penalty. And luckily for the Falcons, they were able to make it and then go into overtime and win the game. But if you miss that field goal, it comes up 3 yards short. Yep.
I'm livid.
Yeah.
Like I'm losing. I'm getting the fine.
Right.
Like, there's no way, because that was ridiculous.
Absolutely. And he had already missed. He missed the one.
And got
then
one
it was
blocked.
a penalty.
Then it was blocked.
Missed it again. Then he had the one blocked. So that to back him up 5 yards, it felt like you're kind of dancing with danger again. Jamie's got some thoughts on Baker Mayfield that we'll get to later on in the show, because Baker had a big night. Mike Evans had a big night. It's not like the Bucs. They had every opportunity to win that thing last night, so we'll get into their side of things as well a little bit later on. But we do have what's trending next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Katie Woo tweeted earlier today that the Cardinals are parting ways with hitting coach Turner Ward. Multiple sources have told The Athletic. We talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the show. If you missed that conversation or if you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Blues defeated the Dallas Stars last night in overtime preseason action. And we had another overtime thriller. The Atlanta Falcons, 36-30 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll dive more into the NFL as well as your St. Louis Blues later in the show. But we have What's Trending coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, I'm excited. Early April, the 4th and the 5th, we have some baseball at Busch Stadium.
Yes. What do we got? Who are the Cardinals playing, huh?
No, it's not the Cardinals, Anthony.
Better.
It's the Savannah Bananas.
Nice.
They're coming to Busch Stadium next year. I'm pretty excited about that. I've never seen them live in person. I always see them on social media making funny videos and doing a bunch of crazy stuff on the field. But now we get to see it live in person at Busch Stadium.
I think that's cool.
You guys know the story behind this, right? Like this one guy, the owner of the team.
Yeah, he was basically, I don't know his full story, but I've heard some of his, things that have gone wrong in the first year and how the marketing and all that, they didn't spell bananas right the first time or something. Wow. He's actually kind of inspirational the way he talks, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, he has taken this product from a thought to where, they just sold out where the Phillies play. It's sold out.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. And now here in St. Louis, they're coming to town to play 2 days. And they have so much demand, they're having a lottery for people to be able to buy tickets.
Wow.
So, whatever he's doing is the right thing. It used to just be the Party Animals and the Savannah Bananas, kind of like the Globetrotters and the Washington Generals, just kind of travel around. Well, now there's going to be 3 different teams that the Savannah Bananas play against.
That's a good idea.
So he has taken this concept and just ran with it. And, I was talking to a guy last night that's from Savannah, and he was like, they're huge there. Mm-hmm. He's like, they're like rock stars. They walk around town, and it's like they're real baseball players, but they're really not.
Yeah, sure.
It's more entertainment than it is baseball.
Right. And I think that's an important distinction, too, because I read somebody on Facebook that was talking about how he's not going to go because he doesn't want to watch, these guys try to act like baseball players and all this.
It's called entertainment, buddy.
Yeah, it's entertainment, exactly. It's kind of like the 4 of us are not reporters. We're not. No. We're not reporters. Yeah, we don't report on anything. We're doing a show. If it's not entertaining, then we're sorry you feel that way, and give us some. Hopefully, give us another try. But we're entertainers.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's developed this concept into what now, because obviously money talks, and he's only so many people he can put in the stands in Savannah. And so now he just flirted with the concept of going to neutral sites, and everywhere they've gone, they've sold out. So now this is a thing.
Yeah.
This is a full-on Harlem Globetrotters model that you're going to travel around the U.S. and play in these big stadiums and sell them out.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple of videos with this owner, and he's talked about how they made a bunch of mistakes early on. They ordered jerseys or something that spelled bananas wrong the first time. It was an extra N in there or something. So he talked about that. He's not a good look. He also talked about the concession stands at one point, to open up the the concession stands. It was like a all you can eat.
Oh, wow.
Well, the concession stands obviously were
Lost money.
They were packed. I mean, people were standing in line for like 2 hours in the concession stand. They weren't watching the baseball game. But his point was like, hey, you figure it out. If you have a great idea, tweak, keep going. Yeah. And at some point, if that idea was good to start with, you make enough adjustments, you stick with it. Over time, you'll be profitable, but you kind of got to stick with it.
Well, the best part about the concept, though, is you can be wrong and you can change things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's real baseball. You don't have certain guidelines and rules and CBA and all that. Like,
right.
If something didn't work on day one of it, you'd be like, hey, by the way, let's scrap that. More like WWE.
That's what I was just thinking.
Like, let's scrap that. Let's do something different. Let's add this character.
Yeah.
See if that works.
I'm sorry, Marsh.
And then when it works,
Oh, no, it's real.
then you reap the benefits.
Yeah.
At that point. What?
Just,
Okay.
it's gone.
All right.
Yep.
I don't know what happened.
We were just telling young Marshy that wrestling is, in fact, real.
Yeah.
Of course it's real.
Yeah. You know,
That's
what I heard. Savannah Bananas. Baseball. Real baseball. Mm-hmm. Got a
My-
pitcher, catcher,
Ish.
batter.
Yeah.
My favorite part is the guest that they bring in. Like, we've seen Roger Clemens go out there. We've seen, speaking of wrestling, John Cena was once out there.
Yep.
I think that we need to make a push to bring out one Anthony Stalter and have him play
Put
shortstop for one inning.
Oh, man, yes.
You know that ball's going to find me, too. You just know it.
Oh, the pitcher's
Yes.
going to make sure it finds you. He's going to pitch one right inside.
Here's what I'm confident in. I'll glove the damn thing. Am I going to throw somebody out?
I believe in you.
We'll
Anthony.
find out.
And then we'll
adrenaline
send the
will take
video
over.
to that Central Michigan coach and tell him you made a mistake.
Look what you missed.
Look at this
missed
banana
out.
that you missed.
Yeah. You made a mistake, pal.
You know
And
what?
he'll say, which one? Oh, the guy. Got you.
I didn't know either.
Yeah.
This is what I think's going to happen. If you go out there, you play shortstop, we won't even have to see you throw to first base because there'll be a runner on first, and you just need to get the force
There you
out
go.
at
Force
second
out to
base.
second,
Maybe
yeah.
you do like a flip or something, and then you toss it to second base.
flip, yeah.
I mean, that's what the fans are looking for.
Okay.
It's not real baseball. We need flips.
Right.
The guy in center field can do it.
Honestly, I'd probably throw to first anyways. Just to prove. Yeah. Just to prove to St. Louis what I can do.
Oh, boy.
I'd probably airmail that thing. I'd throw it so hard. It wind up in the concourse.
Well, the Cardinals are playing the Boston Red Sox on April 4th and 5th. However, they are starting the season against the Minnesota Twins, and the Twins are the latest team to make changes to their front office. Thad Levine is out after 8 years as the Twins senior vice president and general manager. He joined the Twins in 2016, and he helped the club capture 3 American League Central Division titles, and they made the postseason 4 times. Of course, they can never beat the New York Yankees. That just seems to be a problem for them. But that is another example of a team who fell short that is making changes to their front office.
Yeah, how about that?
Interesting. What a concept.
3 division titles. And he didn't get one this year. He out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You guys think that winning division titles matters? What do you know? I mean, look at the Brewers.
I used to think
Look at the
that
Brewers. Huh?
some of the division titles were hollow.
Yeah.
But now that we've had 0
Hey, does that
division
bother you?
titles the
It's a
last
little
2 years,
different,
a little
right?
different. Now I view it differently.
Does that bother you?
I wonder if the Cardinals are doing that on purpose.
They're getting you ready. They're just, not giving you what you want for a couple of years. Then
Yeah.
boom. And you're like,
Oh, a division title in the first round exit. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're manipulating us. It's very toxic,
Yeah.
but
Gaslighting.
it'll probably work.
Super toxic.
Yeah. What did we learn, or what stood out most from the MLB Wild Card Round? Are we all kind of rooting for the big polar bear now? We're going to get a little bit last night? Yeah, right. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Williams sets. Here's the pitch. Swinging a fly ball to right field. Pretty well hit. Freelick back at the wall. He jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career. Pumps his fist as he rounds second. It's a 3-run homer. He's given the Mets a 3-2 lead. They all pour out of the dugout. Alonso on his way to home plate. They're waiting for him. He hits the plate. He is first congratulated by Nimmo. Hugged by Lindor. There are a dozen Mets waiting for him outside the dugout. Pete Alonso keeps this fairy tale season going with the fairy tale swing of his career.
For me, like, I'm a big, strong guy. If I wanted to put someone in the hospital, I easily could.
And that's why you love him.
The Mets Radio Network on the call. Then, of course, Pete Alonso following his dust-up, we'll call it, with the Cardinals a couple of years ago.
Dust-up.
Big, strong guy.
Stubby Clapp took him to the ground like nothing.
Well, he is a big, strong guy, and he can go Oppo Taco. And he did last night for the Mets. I do feel bad for the local product, Devin Williams. Jamie, you had mentioned this. So Marsh sent us a clip from John Boy on Twitter breaking down. I mean, if you watch, it's about 7 minutes, but it is 7 minutes that you won't regret giving to this video because he breaks down how Devin Williams was tipping his pitches. He even used some of the TV feeds, the camera views of the Mets, including Pete Alonso, talking to, I don't know if it was a hitting coach or somebody within that Mets dugout, where you could see he was telling him, hey, when the glove is opened up a little bit more and close to the chin, it is going to be a changeup. If it's a little bit lower and his hand is deeper in the glove, it's going to be a fastball. So the Mets were on it. And Pete Alonso waited on a changeup, hit it perfectly. Runners were on base, first and second, when they were down 2-0. And it wound up being the game-winning home run, essentially, in a 4-2 win over the Brewers last night, and they were eliminated.
I mean, watching last night, Carey brought this up a couple of days ago. Is playoff baseball.
It's awesome.
It is pretty awesome. Like, every pitch matters. Every at-bat matters. Every catch, every ground ball. And last night goes right to the ninth inning. And then, unfortunately, Devin Williams is tipping his pitches, but that's part of the game. It's part of the game. If your own dugout doesn't notice it and they can't tell you, then that's your fault.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
If the Mets notice it, they can notice. You can notice it too. The Brewers can.
That's right. You got to be looking for it too. And somebody wasn't looking or they didn't notice. And Pete Alonso, not even a huge swing, just gets the bat on the ball, but he is a guy that can hit the ball pretty hard. And he just goes Oppo Taco, and that's the ball game. That's it. It's pretty impressive, man. These Mets, I said it months ago. And I don't say it like I claim to know anything about the Mets or baseball. Not what I'm trying to say. I said months ago, they got something kind of special going on here. Mm-hmm. And it was after I found out about their own player, Iglesias, who like moonlights as a Spanish singer. He comes out with this "Oh My God" song, OMG, and they play after every win that they have. It was reminiscent of like Gloria and the whole thing, and that Blues team had something going on, and they weren't all the best players in the league, and so it's weird that the Mets have gotten this far. One, making the playoffs after getting rid of half of the payroll, literally cutting it from $3 million to like $170 or something like that. It's still a hefty payroll. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But then they get into the playoffs, they get through the Brewers, and now like the Phillies are sitting there. I'm sure they think, we're pretty confident, but you can't be that confident right now. By the way, Jose Quintana,
he was excellent.
Probably should have held on to him. He was awesome.
It happens.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
To the song OMG, he just has a remix with Pitbull. So
Does he really?
Mr. Worldwide.
It's going like it is out of there now.
I downloaded that song, by the way. When I saw it on TV, I was like, what is this? You Google, "Oh My God" song. It's the Mets, and it's like one of their players who's like his alter ego is like this Spanish like singer. The song is actually really catchy, for one thing. So I downloaded it, and I threw it on the lake mix, like up at the lake, got on the boat or on the docks, or and like it comes on, and like kids look at me, Ashley looks at me, she's like, what is this?
Don't worry about it.
And all of a sudden, everybody's like kind of, shoulders are going. I'm like, this is actually a baseball player.
Watching that, like those moments, I mean, this is why you love sports. You don't have to be a fan of either team, but to see grown men, and I think this is the part where, you know, when you're a professional athlete or when you play college, high school, whatever, like those moments, you become a child again, and fans become children again. Like, you're so excited about something taking place, and it's just the joy, the sheer joy, like listening to him. Oh, Nemo's the first one out to congratulate him. Now comes Francisco Lindor. Like, you can hear it and you can see it because it takes you back to a moment where something really cool happened in your life. And you're like, man, that is a great feeling. And to be, you know, in that moment in the playoffs, as a professional athlete, like every little boy or little girl that is like the WNBA playoffs going on, like when you are a child, those are the moments you dream of. And to hit that moment and it be on TV and all your family and friends, it's a really cool moment. And that's what sports are, man. It takes you down that road and reminds you of what it was like to be a kid and to dream. And I'm sure Pete Alonso has hit that home run in his backyard as a child hundreds of times. Over the fence, and to do it in real life and to have that moment, I think is really cool. And that's why you love playoff baseball. That's why you love sports.
And if our listeners are wondering, you can go find that song. And Iglesias' stage name is Candelita. So go have a listen. It's pretty funny. And apparently that remix with Pitbull's coming out today.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good time to drop that thing.
Yeah. I wonder if they drop it if they lose.
Pitbull's no fool. He was probably sitting on it.
He probably was. And I told you guys in the pre-show meeting that every team that has beaten the Brewers since 1980 in the playoffs has gone on to the World Series.
Yeah, including the Diamondbacks last year. So, and I'm a believer of the statistics, the funny statistics. So, after the statistic that I brought up yesterday about the Tigers, looks like we're going to have a Mets-Tigers World Series, and you know, it is a World Series, potential World Series of what could have been in 2006. So I'm sure Met fans are looking forward. Fired up for that. Yeah. So if we take a broad viewpoint on this, what stood out most from Wild Card Round? I think what's kind of interesting. It's not even interesting. It's actually what has driven us crazy here in St. Louis. But it is kind of the randomness of Major League Baseball. At this point at this juncture in the season, so you got a Kansas City Royals team that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn for multiple weeks. They didn't really hit against Baltimore, and they wound up winning both of those games. Like, they limped into the playoffs and they advanced. The Orioles, who we all gravitate to
the World Series.
Yeah. They
sorry about that.
They get bounced. Milwaukee really should have. I mean, they had every opportunity to win that game last night. You think going in like, Milwaukee postseason, they've had all these issues. Yeah, it wound up bearing out that way, but last night they had the Mets dead to rights.
It's the curse of the NL Central.
Yep, it's true. Since this format, since the new format, the NL Central has not advanced past this round.
That looks good.
So once the Cardinals get out of this division, boys, then we can start celebrating again.
They won't be out of the division.
Big favorite loses in Houston. Detroit wins that one. The randomness of baseball, it really stood out again, but it is the wild card.
And that's what I was going to say. 3 games. I think 3 games is anything can happen. I mean, we watched the Cardinals lose 2 out of 3 to the Rockies. You lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. Like, anything can happen, I think, in a 3-game series. It's more so when you get to that 5 and 7 games, you realize, I think the better teams usually win. It's hard, and that's the sole purpose of trying to not have to play in this wild card round. Yes. You do not want to have to play because the Brewers are at home for all 3 games. But what difference does it make? You lost. You're no longer in the playoffs. And so for me, it's so important to make sure that if you are going to make the playoffs, you don't have to play in that wild card round because anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about sports and like the lower seeds, because those lower seeds are playing playoff type baseball, hockey, football, whatever it may be. Like, they're playing meaningful games down the stretch. Mm-hmm. Like the Tigers have been awesome in the second half, but you wouldn't really think about it because they weren't
sold at the deadline.
They were sellers. Like the first half, they weren't the team that they are now.
Yeah, and
I love playoff baseball, and I wish the Cardinals were in it.
Well, they're in it in our hearts. It's Fastlane on 101. No, they're not even that. It's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. Can you guys share now? Okay, I didn't think so. If you had to choose only one, will the defense or the offense ultimately be the defining feature of the Blues this season, playoffs or not? That's next on 101 ESPN. If you had to ultimately choose, will the defense or the offense be the defining feature of the Blues this season, playoffs or not? What would you choose? Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. 301, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Jamie, what would you choose? The defining feature, defense or offense? The thing that would stand out, the thing that we would highlight, the thing that might be the strength when it's all said and done, playoffs or not for the Blues?
Yeah, it's got to be defense. It has to be, because you have two great goaltenders that obviously fall into the defensive part of the game, and you don't have a superstar up front. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be highlighting your offense, would help to have a superstar. Does that mean that Robert Thomas can't get to that? It's not. He just hasn't yet.
Yeah.
I think, 86 points last year. That's really good player, but not star player. Like the guys that are 95 to 110 points, those are stars. And you don't have that yet. It's just, it is what it is. So play to your strengths. With hopefully now with the bolstered blue line, that's where your strengths are. You got Letty playing with Parayko. Broberg had himself a great game yesterday. He finally looked very comfortable out there. His skating was great. He snuck in for a great one-timer goal off of tremendous Robert Thomas pass, albeit. And, I just feel like that's the key to success for the Blues is focusing on the defensive side of the game and then scoring opportunistic goals. You're not going to go out there and blow the doors off of other teams. You're just not. And this is where 2 years ago where the wheels fell off for Craig Berube the season before, like when he wasn't fired, was this team was trying to become a rush team, like trying to go with all the teams going back and forth. Well, you didn't have a high enough end of talent to do that. And what happened is it bit you in the rear to where other teams that had that kind of talent were like, okay, we'll get in this track meet.
Yeah.
And you didn't have the defense at the time to slow down the opposition's offense. So that's a bad recipe, is what I'm saying.
It's a really bad recipe.
Bad recipe.
Do they have the forward group to be the team you're describing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this forward group falls right into that category. You've got a lot more forwards that are responsible defensively this year. You just go through the lineup. Kasperi Kapanen, Matthew Joseph, Braden Shen, that line last night. I'd play them against anybody in the NHL. Certainly Thomas and whoever he's with, they're out there. Buchnevic's line, they're going to play. The fourth line of Faksa, Toropchenko, and Walker. You could play them against Nathan McKinnon's line.
Sure.
So I think, like, as a group, they're better defensively from the forward unit. And then it's yet to be determined, like, ultimately, you've only 5 preseason games in here, or 6 now. You don't really know what your defensive core is going to look like, but last night was a good example of what it could be. And if they keep improving and keep building off of that, then you also have the goaltending. So for me, it's almost goes back to when Craig Berube took over this team. Puck possession, don't turn the puck over, don't be stupid with the puck, compete, and then play sound defense. Take away the middle of the ice and force the other team to come inside. And if that's what you're going to do, you got the goaltending to support it, I think you'll win more games than not.
We got a text from the 636. The offense and defense have the ability to be above average. The goalies will be their make or break. If the goalies steal enough close games, they'll be in the playoffs. There will be lulls on offense and defense with this roster. So if the goalies are consistently solid, they could have a better than expected season.
We had 93 points last year because of Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer. Let's just be honest, because you had way too many stretches of hockey where the Blues weren't able to play to the best of their ability. Their 5-on-5 scoring was nowhere where it needed to be. So you got 93 points because Jordan Binnington reset the clock, got back on track, and played the way he did. And then when Joel Hofer was asked to play, he played very well at the same time. So, yes, the goaltending is a huge part. But this team, I believe this team right now, the way it's assembled, is better than the team they had last year. In fact, I know it is. So if the goaltending is consistent like that again, and you have a better team in front of you, that's where I just can't wrap my brain around certain predictions from certain publications that have the Blues like at 75 points or 84 points. How does the team get worse when they got better? Right. That's the tough part for me to understand. And maybe 6 months from now, I'm sitting here apologizing to those guys. I would never apologize, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But it just doesn't match up for me.
Yeah, I think it's annoying that a lot of national people aren't giving this team credit. And maybe you're right, too, like when you say that we could be completely off. But, like, the team has gotten better, at least on paper. Like, they have gotten better. So I don't understand why the national media is not giving them a little bit more credit than what we're seeing. We got a text from the 636. I think this is Jordan Kyrou's year, boys. I feel like it could be, too. You've talked about him maybe beefing up a little bit, being a little bit in a better headspace.
Well, look at his goal last night. That's a goal scorer's goal. We talk about goal scorers. Robert Thomas makes a great play, comes down the wing, button hooks up, finds Kyrou. The puck was on his stick for like a millisecond. It was on the stick, off the stick, goal. Ottinger had no chance on it. It's a goal scorer right there. So now for Drew Bannister and the coaching staff, they just have to learn how to continue to raise the offensive game for Jordan Kyrou, while the floor of how poor he is defensively, they got to raise that too, so that he's not a liability out there. You don't need him to be a Selke Trophy winner, which is the best defensive forward in the NHL. You don't need that. It'd be nice, but you don't need that. You just need him to not be a liability. And when you watch the games, I'm going to give the listeners a little project here. When you watch the games, when the Blues are on TV, look at Jordan Kyrou's positioning. His positioning most of the time is good defensively. Where it goes a little stray is the decisions while in that position. It's either stick to the left or stick to the right. Where do I go? Where is the most effective spot to block a pass or take away a scoring opportunity? And sometimes the stick's in the wrong place. So these are all teachable things. And then there's puck decisions. And I think that's Jordan Kyrou's biggest obstacle moving forward, is making smarter puck decisions. I always tell the kids or whoever I'm coaching, the pro guys, live to fight another day. And all that means is you don't have to make a miraculous play every time the puck's on your stick, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to make it work. Mm-hmm. And then it ends up going back the other way. I'm not saying for a goal, but you've lost possession of the puck and you've given the other team an advantage because now they've got some speed headed back towards your end.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a play, just put the puck in a non-dangerous area. Get it up the wall, chip it behind a guy, chip it to a spot where you can skate to it, dump the puck in, get a good line change. Not every shift has to be a productive shift from the standpoint of getting a scoring chance. And I think that's where some of these young offensive players, they get caught up in it because they want to make something happen every shift, which is great. You don't want to take that out of them, but they also have to learn that you're not going to get something every shift. It'd be like a young quarterback trying to force the difficult pass every set of downs because, I got to make something happen here. 9 times out of 10, that's going to end up blowing up in his face. Yeah. Take what they give you. Just like quarterback, take what they give you. A little dump pass. Okay, that's all we got. We got 4 yards this time. Don't worry about it. Right. We got a bigger play next time.
Is that a mindset because when you're playing at lower levels, you're the best player and those things always work for you? And then when you get to the next level, you kind of feel like, well, I'm not having as much success as I'm accustomed to, so I'm going to force it a little bit more than I probably need to, because it's like college football. Everybody that plays college football is not going to the NFL.
Yep.
When you get to the NFL, all these guys were the stars at their college, and it's a little bit harder to make plays. And I'm sure it's the same way with juniors and all of the other levels in hockey. Once you get to the NHL, all the guys are in the NHL. It's different.
It is, and here's where I'll say I don't know the whole path for Jordan Kyrou, but somewhere along the way the coaches failed him. Then they failed him because he was so talented.
I've seen that.
And, I say this because I was a very high-scoring defenseman in junior hockey. And I ended up getting a coach that came in. His name was Glenn Murkowski. He was a minor league player, but he was a minor league player at 5'8", 100 and nothing, like the total Rudy story. But this guy scored a whole bunch of goals, won championships in the American League, all because he knew how to play the game.
Right.
And so when he became a coach, his mission was to teach the players how to become better hockey players, not winning games. Mm-hmm. And so when he got to our team, he asked me one time, he goes, hey, how often do you see your goaltender throughout the game? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, you don't play defense. He's like, do you even know his name back there? I was like, well, yeah, it's
Frank.
Mike, He's like, yeah, okay, great. Well, Mike would like to see you a little more often. And so he started to teach me how to play defensive hockey.
Yeah.
And then he taught me stick positioning and how to control bodies along the boards and clear the front of the net and all this stuff that I'd never thought of because I just take the puck and go.
Right.
Well, little did I know that would be the difference maker in my career. Because when I got to the NHL, it was no longer take the puck and go. The coaches wanted me to play solid defensively. Had I not had the coaching from Glenn Murkowski, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I look at Jordan Kyrou, and he's always been the fastest, most talented, best player at every level. And he gets to the NHL, and now he has certain habits and certain behaviors that are learned habits and behaviors because the coaches have failed him along the way. And now you hand him off to Craig Berube, you hand him off to Drew Bannister, and now they've got to break years of habits, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Well, at the same time, by the way, while keeping his confidence sky high, because you want that arrogance, you want that swagger offensively. I need this guy to be a difference maker. So that's why I don't give up on players like Jordan Kyrou. That's why I say that you can't be so harsh on him all the time. Watch the games. More often than not, he's in the right position. He just has to start making the right decisions.
Is it safe to say that the team, when we look at the team aspect, that the defense needs to be the most important aspect of the team, while Jordan Kyrou needs to be the best player on the team if this team is going to make the playoffs?
I don't know if Kyrou needs to be the best player on the team, because I think that's going to be Robert Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it is. I think he is the best player. He's the most talented all-around player the Blues have.
But if Jordan Kyrou is now the best player, does that...
If Jordan
Does
Kyrou
that
is your
change
best
things?
scorer,
Yes,
that changes things. If Jordan Kyrou can get to that 40-goal mark, Robert Thomas will absolutely get to that 95-point mark if that's the case, especially if they play on the same line, on the same power play and things like that. And that's how you can build a better offense. But again, circling back to the very first part, the big question for this segment was, what's the most important part? For me, it's going to be the defensive side of the game.
That's Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. It's a Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN. Are the Cardinals watching the rest of the NL Central get better while they stay in neutral? We'll get into that next. Plus, we've got some fantasy advice. If you want to maybe send in some questions, some fantasy football starts and sits questions, you can start doing that now. Air Comfort Service text line is 314-399-9646. We'll do that at the bottom of the hour. We'll get into the Cardinals next, following a big decision by the Reds here on 101 ESPN. So kind of an obvious question to everybody here. Cardinals watching certainly the rest of the NL Central get better while they remain stuck in neutral, no question about it. Terry Francona inked a new 3-year deal with the Cincinnati Reds. So he comes out of, I don't know if it's retirement, but he took last year off, and he's going to be managing the Reds. I fully believe that a manager can only do so much, and most of his impact comes from 162 games of managing a clubhouse that has got to grind over that haul, managing the injuries, managing the different personalities. Like that's what you pay your manager to do. But when it comes to the postseason, there are certain managers. Bruce Bochy stands out certainly. Terry Francona does as well. So does Tony La Russa. We've seen certain managers just flat out outmanage another dude with his moves, with his instincts, with his decision making when it comes to setting up a roster. That is when a manager really matters. So Terry Francona, I think, is going to matter from that standpoint. I don't think though that when you place Terry Francona in that dugout for Cincinnati, that they're suddenly light years better.
What?
Craig Counsell is a recent example of this, right? Like we all thought, wow, they got Brewers gave him up. Now the Cubs got him, and Counsell, man, he's going to.
In fairness, the Cubs were predicted to finish second last. I mean, he did better.
Good call, Jamie. Yeah, good call. Very good call. I think the key here is that the Cardinals continue to make very risk-averse moves, whether it's in free agency, the trade market, or with their coaching staff or front office, while everybody else seems to be making wholesale changes or moves that are actually going to make a difference.
So I was listening to BK and Ferrario earlier today, and I wish I could remember who their guest was that they had on from the Boston Sports Insider guy from the Red Sox and whatnot.
Okay.
Anyways,
yeah,
they were talking about Chaim Bloom, and he said, BK or Alex, this is paraphrasing, asked him, what do you think was ultimately the downfall for Chaim Bloom in Boston? Because the guest had said, well, it was a failure. Now, he had some hits, and he might still have hits rather than misses because they've got some 3 prospects right now in the top 10 and MLB pipeline that are Chaim Bloom attached to him. So if those guys make the major league level, all of a sudden things might look different for his tenure there. But the one thing that I got out of it was that there were so many instances where Chaim Bloom took so long to make a decision.
Oh, no.
Because he was afraid to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
That doesn't sound
I
good.
puked a little bit in my mouth because the PTSD was real. And I'm like, oh, no, not another one that's just going to wait. Be patient. Mm-hmm. Be patient. No. But now, all things being fair, every time you get fired from a job or whatever, you should hopefully learn as to why it didn't work.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work, you learn to change that behavior or that strategy. So hopefully that happened from the Red Sox to the Cardinals. But it just made me think to myself, like, oh, no, we're going to take like 45 years to try and change this over.
Yeah.
Or he's going to have decisions that he can make in the now, but drags his feet because he's an over-analytical guy.
Right.
I just hope he learned, man.
He came originally from Tampa. And the guy running the Dodgers right now, Andrew Friedman, came from Tampa. You can have a mix of somebody that is all about drafting, developing, and also can make some, big time decisions in free agency, open up the checkbook a little bit and spend on those guys. I think you have to have a balance of the two. But ultimately, if Chaim Bloom can take what he did in Tampa and bring it to St. Louis, that would be his biggest win. Like that's how you win here.
Yep.
You develop a farm system that it doesn't matter where you drafted them, where you selected them. Your farm system is always plush with talent. Either talent that you're going to ship out to make some key trades, or talent obviously is going to be homegrown and be a part of your big league squad. But it really does. It starts with player development. Anybody with the biggest checkbook can sign Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber and Shohei Ohtani, and anybody can do that from a GM standpoint if they get the okay from the owner. What we're hoping for here with Bloom is that he finds that kind of that magic touch that some GMs have, where they get somebody or they make a deal, and all of a sudden it's Willy Adames for a reliever, or they sign Luis Severino as opposed to Lance Lynn. Make a savvy move that's going to impact your club, regardless of how much money you're spending.
Well, if the money is similar, you should probably go with the better guy. Like if it's just a little bit different, you should still go with the better guy because the upside is going to be higher.
Right.
And I think that's kind of going into this season. I don't know if how much better the Reds are going to be. They got a lot of talent. They got some guys that can play some baseball, and they are a younger team, and maybe Francona is a guy that can. What Jamie was talking about, like with his coach that showed him how to play the game the right way. When you learn how to play the game the right way, it helps the entire team. You become a better team because now guys are not solely focused on what I can do, but what I can do to help the team to be be better and win more games. So maybe that's what that does. I don't know what the Cardinals, I don't know how this season looks in 2025. I have no clue what the expectation is, who's going to be the hitting coach, if that matters, what guys are going to do when the time, you okay?
I'm good.
When the time comes for 2025. I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, we thought this year would be better. And granted, it was.
Hey.
The bar was extremely.
83 wins.
Yeah.
We heard that from the chairman himself.
And you better respect it because, what else would you expect other than a winning season, which you had? It didn't make the playoffs, but, we're working to get there.
Not all winners get into the big dance,
Well, Anthony, Jamie, excuse me, I don't know that makes you a winner.
If you have more wins than losses, you're a winning team.
Yeah, but are you a winner?
I don't know. I'm just telling you what they told me.
Repeatedly, too.
Yep, over and over
I was going to
again.
ask you, when did you chalk to DeWitt?
I didn't have
Talk
to.
to us.
It's just playing on a loop in my brain.
Makes sense.
If the Cardinals are going with this youth movement, would you guys, let's play hypotheticals here because obviously Ali Marmol's coming back, and I don't think that's going to change. But if you have a group of young players, would you rather them be led by a younger manager who could probably relate a little bit more to the younger players, or would you rather have an older, veteran, experienced manager who is going to maybe implement some like old school baseball type things? Like, what is going through your mind if you were to make that decision? Like, which way are you going with that? Because I think both are very beneficial.
Yeah, I'm not trying to duck your question, but for me, what would be most important, whether you're a veteran guy or a younger guy, somebody with a clear vision that the front office allows you to execute that vision. So, like Mike Schill, we were talking about this yesterday. You lost your vision and your identity when you let go of Mike Schiltz. This is somebody that wanted to play a very specific way. I would rather have that than, hey, this guy's got a great resume, or this guy has no resume. If somebody has a clear vision of how they're going to win, over 162 games, execute however. I don't even go at this point, and people are going to groan, kind of moan at this, but like groan, not moan.
They can do both.
We're gonna go on all power. We're gonna live and die on our power. Okay, cool. We're going to go with all strikeout guys in our pitching staff. We're going to go with all home run guys. Some games we're going to lose 5-0. Some games we're going to win 8-7. Whatever the identity is, I just want there to be an identity, because I feel as though, as from a front office standpoint and from an on-field standpoint, the Cardinals have had their feet in several different categories at all times, and they're just going sideways.
They're playing Twister.
They have no idea who they want to be as an organization. And I think they're reactionary, and I think they're cautious, and I think they're risk averse, and I think what has led to, if you throw all of that in there, the results are the last 2 years. I don't think they know who the hell they are. Outside of, hey, we want to be a profitable organization. Great. Okay, cool. You've done that for now, because your fan base is checked out. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. If you've got a fantasy football question for us, send it in 314-399-9646. We'll do our fantasy football starts and sits next.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Turner Ward is out as the Cardinals hitting coach. We talked about that earlier in the show. If you missed that or if you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our full shows there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Blues defeated the Dallas Stars last night in overtime, 4-3 the final. And on Thursday Night Football, the Atlanta Falcons defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 36-30 in overtime. Tomorrow, City SC will take on Houston, 7:30 start time. We get a ton of fantasy football questions. We have our fantasy football starts and sits coming up next, so get those questions into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's Fastline on 101 ESPN. As Marsh just told you, we got some fantasy football start-sits advice. So if you want to start sending in your questions, I know we've got a handful right now. We'll try to get through as many as possible. Marsh, what do you got?
From the 314, would you guys trade Josh Jacobs for scary Terry McLaurin? This listener currently has Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson Jr., Travis Etienne, and J.K. Dobbins in the running back room.
Did somebody fall asleep during your
how many people are in your
draft?
league?
Right.
It's got to be a 6-man league. I would still
Either
say
that or
no.
you just started drafting running backs and never stopped.
Well, who does he? Did you say who he has at receiver? Because he got some receivers too. I don't know if you kept that part, but no. I mean, I'm keeping Jacobs. I'm going to keep the running back. More opportunities. He doesn't have anybody that's really pushing him for carries, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's a good point. So anybody that's not in a committee right now,
Yeah.
I would hold on to.
Yeah.
And I think you could probably flip one of those other running backs at some point, or maybe even, at some point maybe you could flip one of those other running backs like ETN and still get a decent wide receiver.
Yeah.
From the 217, thinking about starting Alan Lazard over Zay Flowers. Am I crazy for doing this?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Against you've been talking about Minnesota's defense and Brian Flores and how great he is, and you want to start Alan Lazard with the Jets versus that Minnesota defense.
Yes.
Over Zay Flowers, who has a quarterback in Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you look at the way that the game has flowed for the Ravens, they have obviously ran the ball much better over the last couple of weeks. So if they're not going to play in a shootout, and I doubt they will this weekend against the Bengals, who also can't stop the run, Zay Flowers was targeted, I think, 6 times over the past 2 weeks. They haven't used him. They haven't needed him. So if you think that the Ravens are going to be able to run the ball against the Bengals, and I do, then Zay Flowers isn't going to do much. The Vikings have allowed, I just saw the stat, slot receiver has led the team in 3 of the 4 games against the Vikings. Lazard's in the slot. So if you are going to, from a fantasy perspective, look at this game for the Vikings and attack that defense, it'd be from a slot receiver. So I actually would play Alan Lazard. I don't think you're crazy. I would play Lazard over Flowers.
335. Anthony has the Jets beating the Vikings in London.
Well, I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
But I do have Lazard finishing with more fantasy points than Zay Flowers this week.
From the 314, should I trade Diggs and ETN for Kyron Williams and Jalen Waddle?
Ooh,
No.
I wouldn't go near
Hell no.
Waddle. Who the hell's getting him the ball?
Why would you? Hell no.
That's right.
No.
I'm
What are
just
we doing?
saying.
Kyron Williams? No, thank you. Who's the running back? ETN and Diggs? No, thank you.
I mean, you could if you're going to play if I'm going to play devil's advocate at some point if Tua does come back.
How long are you planning on waiting for
I don't
that?
know.
Week 8? Kyron Williams, the Rams also have issues in the pass game because they don't have any receivers. Cooper Kupp is hurt. Puka is hurt. Like, they're not able to just run the ball because they've been down. Like, no. Nah, I wouldn't do that.
Let me ask you this: who's the best player in that deal?
Stephon Diggs.
Then you're done. That's how I look at all my trades. Like if I'm getting the best player, I'm more apt to make that deal. If I'm giving up the best player, then forget it. You know, a lot of times owners would be like, "Hey,
You seem risk averse, Anthony.
I'll give you 3 players."
He's the Cardinals.
Well, no, because this is what happens. No, because I actually get the best player in the deal. Damn.
Talk that talk.
Somewhere Mo just buckled.
Hey, you should talk about that one trade that trade request that you received.
So T-Bone in our 101 ESPN league, Jamie.
Oh, yeah.
T-Bone offered us Anthony Richardson for Jonathan Taylor. Now both are hurt.
Both of them are hurt. Neither of them is.
Not that you and I
don't
not
think
that
either one
Bury
are
the
playing.
Bodies will be making that deal. But
No.
I mean, if you're gonna make a deal, you know, some people that they'll throw you three players for one. And it's 3 average players for 1 excellent player. Forget it.
And you don't have enough roster space. You got to move guys
You
out.
play Russian roulette with those 3 guys as opposed to just having 1 stud. No, thank you. So our officially Fastlane says no on that deal.
Yeah.
From the 314, are you starting C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels at quarterback this week?
Oh, wow.
So this one's kind of tough.
Hang on, let's go schedule on this one.
Yeah, so Jaden Daniels has the
got the
Browns.
Browns.
And the Browns at home defensively can be tough.
Anthony Richardson has the Jaguars.
No. C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud.
He has the Bills.
He's got the Bills.
Now, the Bills have been great against quarterbacks. They also haven't really faced one. They had Murray, Lawrence,
Jackson,
Tua,
Lamar.
But so obviously Derrick Henry went off last week. So
I'm probably going Stroud just because I think at some point the Jaden Daniels bubble will.
Here he goes with the Daniels hate again.
I'm not hating on him. I think he's been performing really well. Don't have anything against the young man.
Clearly something.
Just don't know when it's going to
something.
pop. And Cleveland has a really good defense. Like, they are one of the top defenses. Their offense, they could marry the two. They can get both of them playing at the same time. They actually would be a halfway decent team. But Cleveland has a really good defense. And they get after the quarterback.
They also play a lot of man. So I could see Jaden Daniels having a big rushing day. I would go with Jaden Daniels, but I don't know. I don't think playing C.J. Stroud coming off the game he just had is crazy. He had one of the best games of his career last year, numbers-wise, or last week, excuse me.
Well, he is my quarterback, and I've also had the idea of starting Sam Darnold, who is my backup quarterback in one of my leagues. And C.J. Stroud, I mean, he's been okay this year. He's been okay from a fantasy standpoint. Jaden Daniels, if you want that upside, it's more of like a boom or bust type guy. But if you need it, I think it really depends on where you're at in the standings. If you're willing to go with the big boom guy, then yeah, go with Jaden Daniels. From the 314, should I start Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, or both?
Well, you're starting Justin Jefferson.
You're starting Justin Jefferson.
I'm starting both.
Who is the other? I need another option. If it's not, who would be the other option other than Jordan Addison?
Right. Because if it's Jamar Chase, then no. We've heard these rosters are kind of crazy.
Justin Jefferson starting.
Yeah,
we don't even.
Right.
He's plug and play every single week.
Correct.
You don't even have to adjust unless he's on the bye week or injured.
I don't know. That's tough. It just depends on what else you have. Because the Jets do play well defensively against the pass. So,
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson's a must.
Yes.
Jordan Addison had a huge week last week.
I know. But if your third option is, I don't know, let's say your third option is like Deontay Johnson. I think Deontay Johnson would be better than Jordan Addison this week.
Really?
Yeah. Or if your third option is like Brian Thomas, Brian Thomas, in against Indy's soft coverage, I'd be more interested in that. So I don't love the matchup for Addison. So it depends on what you have at your other wideout.
From the 618, should I trade Jordan Mason for Josh Jacobs and Amari Cooper, or is CMC's injury being downplayed? And do you think he's going to be out until closer to the end of the regular season, if not the beginning of the postseason?
I think CMC's going to be out for a while.
For a while?
Yep. I would hang on to Jordan Mason. I think he's going to be out for a long time. There's something up with that hamstring.
Is it calf or is it hamstring?
I think it's both, isn't it? Wasn't he dealing with a hamstring injury too?
Who can keep up? I know when they sent the message the day of the game. It's Achilles tendonitis and
so his whole leg, his lower body.
Yeah.
I would hang on to Jordan Mason.
He went to Germany allegedly.
Right.
To get a treatment.
Yeah.
Got to get your treatment.
What are you doing? I'm hanging on to Mason.
I initially, my brain went to, make the trade because of Amari Cooper and Jacobs. I like it, and eventually I do think Christian McCaffrey will be back. I don't know when. I have no clue when, but we didn't know that he was even going to miss time. So I don't know when he'll be back.
If you're really hurting for wide receiver, it's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
If you're awful at wide receiver, or if you got injuries piled up, then make the deal.
Yeah.
If not, hang on to Jordan Mason.
By the way, that other texter from the 314 about Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, the other option is Tutu Atwell.
Oh, then no. Start Jordan Addison. Yeah. I'm glad you.
That's why we needed to know.
Yeah. So no.
Although Tutu Atwell is like the only receiver that the Rams have healthy, so
I'd rather go with a better receiver, even in a tougher matchup.
It sounds like Tutu might have a big game though, just because we said
will.
that. Let's do one more here from the 314. Should I trade John Mozeliak for a bag of? No, that's not.
Oh, that's not
fantasy football.
Yes, but the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do a real last one. Would you bench Patrick Mahomes for Jordan Love? In parentheses, I know what I'm doing. Just wondering what you would do.
No.
Why would you ever do that?
Again, I think
Like for
some
this
players
week?
for Jordan Love, who the Packers got?
The Packers have the Rams. I would this week.
Would you?
I'd play the matchup this
Who
week.
do the Chiefs
yeah.
have?
The
Chiefs have
Saints.
the Saints. I'm not.
Without Rashee Rice,
I'm
I
not.
would.
Because that means Travis Kelce's going to get targeted 12 times. Xavier Worthy is going to get a deep ball over the top of somebody's head. You're going to find a way to get like that. He will find Juju Smith-Schuster will find his way into the end zone on a crossing route. Patrick Mahomes will have 289 yards, almost 300 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
I'm going with the matchup. The Rams secondary is horrible. I'm going Jordan Love.
I just replay this on Monday when Patrick Mahomes has exactly
Push the little record button.
Yep. Crossing route for Smith-Schuster. Xavier Worthy taking top off. Travis Kelce, 100-plus yards receiving.
All right, so did you say that? So are you with Flowers over Lazard?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm with Patrick Mahomes over everybody.
Going Love over Mahomes. We'll find out. We'll find out from a fantasy perspective who's right.
My favorite kind.
Fantasy perspective, yeah. Yeah, good call there, Jamie. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. Let's get into some college football. Our college football week 6 preview, which matchup impacts the CFP the most this weekend. We'll get into that Mizzou and A&M game as well. It's all next on 101 ESPN. 6 in college football kicks off. Well, I guess it technically kicked off last night. The big games tomorrow, including Mizzou and Texas A&M. Why don't we start local, boys? From a local standpoint here, expectation standpoint, what do you guys expect to see in that Mizzou Texas A&M game?
I think you're going to see the passing game evolve here. It took, 3-4 weeks last year for Brady Cook and that offense to really find themselves. And I'd like to think that that's what's going on this year so far with the Tigers. Like, the running game is there. We've talked about Noel. He's been really good. He's been an adequate audible for Cody Schrader.
Yeah, he's been real good.
He's not the same. I'm not going to say it, but he has been very good.
Yes.
The passing game has not been fantastic yet. They had a bye week. Hopefully they went to work on that. And I'm hoping the passing game is way a bigger part of the game than it has been so far for Mizzou. If it is, I see them winning this game.
I think they should win the game. I mean, we know that they have had their scares. They had an overtime situation with Vanderbilt. You had a scare early on against Boston College, but you were able to come out on top in both of those games. Just showing up early and getting ready to roll. Like, don't take – I would look at that Vanderbilt game and think that maybe, they were kind of overlooking a team like Vandy and preparing for the bye week and what they would have in Texas A&M. They're not looking past Texas A&M. They're not looking past them. They're not going forward and not focusing on what they have. It's going to be a good game. I know people think Texas A&M is always overrated and they aren't, the level that they are. But if you've never been to a game at College Station, it is one of the best environments in the entire world.
Really?
Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, they got like cowbells and they got, I forget what they call the men that do it's a football dance. It is a football environment. No, it's amazing. It's just a special
You're thinking of
place.
a wedding.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
There's a chicken dance. You know the chicken dance?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know that one. Thank you. Yeah, see that later.
Yeah, you will.
But no, College Station is a really good environment, so it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a lot of people there. It's an early start for them,
Yeah.
but you have to be ready, dialed in, and ready to roll from start to finish.
Yeah, this is a week where Mizzou can prove not only to us here locally or in Columbia, they get to prove if they're not frauds in front of the entire nation. They're playing on ABC, 11 o'clock. In College Station. Like, this is a huge game for Mizzou to prove that they are not frauds. Because there's a lot of people right now that think they are. And I don't want to say
Including you.
Well, I don't want to say I'm in that camp, but
I've got the text message to prove it.
Yeah.
I actually did say that. I actually did say that.
It's on record, buddy.
Mizzou are frauds. I think I've said it twice now.
Yeah.
They end up winning both times. Maybe I'll say it again on Saturday.
He also said, Georgia's been exposed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did you call him?
I said, I didn't know Bama was playing Lindenwood.
Oh,
Jamie.
They were beating the hell out of them.
man.
Sorry.
Then Georgia said, let me show you what football looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge game. Like, you're on ABC.
Right.
It doesn't get any bigger than that.
This is a pretty even matchup, too. Both sides. Like, Texas A&M, they struggled against the run against Notre Dame, but since that point, they've been really good. And Mizzou, I think, from an offensive standpoint, they have been pretty balanced. But they're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to pound the rock. Now, Jamie, I agree with you. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the passing game. But to me, limit the turnovers, keep running the ball well, and then play great defense. And for God's sakes, don't get yourself out of position. We've seen it now against Boston College and Vanderbilt. There's a breakdown in the secondary. You can't let that happen. Texas A&M's they're not explosive. They're really, again, this is very even. This is an even matchup. So I think it's going to come down to, who's best on third downs. Can you even avoid third downs? Can you run the ball? Can you control the game? Limit turnovers, or don't turn the ball over at all, and play good defense. And it's just kind of your typical football game. I don't think it's going to be a track meet. I don't see Mizzou falling behind. I don't see them falling behind big. I don't see them getting up big. This is going to be a bit of a battle here in College Station. All right, the matchup that impacts the college football playoff the most this weekend. So the one you've kind of circled as this is the one that could maybe change the landscape again for this week.
I'm looking at that's the only top 25 matchup.
The rest could be blood donors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say. There aren't any matchups. Arkansas, who has played pretty well, they played pretty well against Oregon, Oklahoma State.
I'm kind of interested in that game.
That's a good game because they are
Tennessee,
at Arkansas.
Arkansas?
Yeah,
To Tennessee.
Tennessee
I don't
is.
think that's
Tennessee
gonna
has
be a
been
good game at all.
Well, I think that's probably the only one. Looking at this slate of games where you could say, okay, that might be a game that's a little bit interesting and worth watching. I think Miami going all the way out to Cal, anytime you have to travel that far, always is interesting. And
they almost lost last week. So.
They almost lost last week, and you're going on the road to Cal. Like that's the one part about with all this conference shakeup. You got guys playing all over the country.
Yeah.
All over the place. And Washington last week lost at Rutgers. They had to go to Rutgers. Like that is a long flight. Cross-country flight. So those times, anything like that, when you're flying cross-country, anything can happen.
So speaking of Washington, they're the one game that when I looked at the schedule a couple days ago, they're the one game where I sat and thought to myself, is there a potential upset there? Washington's got Michigan, and they're playing in Washington, I believe. Yes, they are. Like, I don't know. I think Washington's better than their 3-2 record. But, it's still Michigan. They're sitting there at 10. I mean, it would be a major upset. But do you guys think there's enough meat on the bone there to even suggest there might be?
Well, here's the thing, Jamie. Yes, because Washington is actually a small favorite.
That's a tough place to play as well.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, but I understand I understand why you said it that way, though, because Michigan's number 10.
Yeah.
Washington's not even ranked.
Yep.
So I totally get that. So, yes. Yeah, why Michigan? I think Michigan. So, which top 25 team is basically playing for its playoff lives? I think it's Michigan.
I was going to say, so then this is my game then.
You got a game that Michigan, this is his first road game. Michigan's been at home for every game. They've got one quote-unquote good loss because it was against Texas.
Right.
But you can't lose. You really can't lose again if you expect the committee to respect you enough to put you in the college football playoff. Yeah. So I think Michigan's kind of playing for its playoff life this week on the road. And like you said, tough environment.
Yes.
Those night games in Washington are not fun.
Different.
Who do you guys think is going to be the group of 5 team to make it through? Do you think Boise State could be that team?
Boise State's really fun. They've got Genty.
They got a Heisman candidate
in Genty. So as of right now, yes.
And they would lead it. They went to Oregon and almost beat Oregon at Oregon. Like that was no fluke game. They were playing with Oregon that entire game, putting themselves in a position. They almost came out of there with a win.
But it's got to be either them or UNLV.
Yeah, well, they got a good quarterback and a running back.
Their quarterback left.
They dominated.
What?
Their quarterback
They
left.
dominated last week.
Know.
They lost both guys. They're like, okay, cool, hold my beer. They crushed Fresno State. And they got Syracuse tonight.
That's got to hurt that kid. That kid's future, does it not?
It at least hurts your pride.
Yeah.
Let's see how you guys do without me.
Just fine.
Oh, you're up by 45 at halftime?
See you soon.
Okay.
Yep.
You know what, guys? I'll take 10 grand. How about that? Forget the 100K. I'll take 10 grand.
Yeah, sure. We'll give it to you.
Yeah. Come on back.
Never pay him. Yeah.
That's so wrong.
Never pay him.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got the Gauntlet next.
categories, one challenger. Can you survive the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Call 314-920-5713 now for a free inspection.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in, and Andrew Marsh here, of course. We welcome in Chris for the Gauntlet. What's up, Chris?
Hey, how you doing today?
Doing great, man. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. Is this your first time?
My first time. I'm going to make a complete fool of myself, and the one bad thing is my son, who I usually listen to this with every day, is not here to do this, but nonetheless, hopefully we'll go back and listen to it afterwards, and he can laugh at me later.
No, let's say, listen, this is going to be a fun experience.
I'm going to need more confidence out of you, Chris.
It'll be good. I'm gonna have a good time no matter what.
What's your son's name, Chris?
What's that?
What's his name?
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
Your dad's going to do great today.
Sawyer the Destroyer.
Nice. Okay, I like that.
And he's currently, right now, listening to the podcast, which is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
Well done, Marshy.
All right, Chris. Would you like to take on Marsh, Carey, Jamie, or me?
I'm going to go with Carey because I think if I get football, I think I can hang with them. But I'm afraid I'm going to get hockey, and hockey I'm terrible at. So
Hockey guy.
Yeah.
We'll see. Good luck, Chris.
Carey Davis. It's going to head to the cone of silence right now. Chris, go ahead and tell Marsh to spin the wheel. We'll find out if you get football.
All righty, Marsh, spin that wheel.
Okay, so let's see what we get here. Let's see if the wheel... You're a real nice guy, Chris. We've liked you. Let's see if the wheel does, though.
Ooh, random.
I can live with that.
All right.
My wife says I'm full of useless knowledge. So.
Well, there you go.
Oh, you too,
Now
huh?
you can prove.
Sweet.
Yeah, now you can prove it. All right, so you're going to get 4 random questions, all worth 2 points. Thank you, Marsh. Carey Davis is going to get the same 4 random questions today. Each question is worth 2 points unless you ask for the options. If you ask for the options, then that question is worth 1 point. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, question number 1, Chris. Before Lewis and Clark completed their legendary expedition, Meriwether Lewis served as whose presidential secretary? Meriwether Lewis served as whose presidential secretary?
Oh man, my friends are going to kill me. I'm gonna go with Ulysses S. Grant.
Final answer?
Yep.
All right. Question 2. Apart from toast, what is the Teletubbies' favorite treat to slurp?
Oh, boy.
Options on this one.
Oh, you need the options? Okay. Was it Tubby Custard, Tubby Tea, or Tubby Tonic?
Ooh. Let's go. Was the second one Tubby Tea?
It was.
Then we'll go with that one.
All right.
Never watched a lot of Teletubbies with the boys.
Don't blame you.
Nope. That was that a final answer, Chris?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
You're telling me you don't know anything about Tinky Winky, Dipsy Whipsy, Lala, or Poe?
No, and if that was on, I was probably sleeping.
Makes sense.
All right, question number 3. The Knicks have acquired 4-time All-Star Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves. When did Minnesota make Towns the first overall pick of the NBA draft? We're looking for the year.
All right, hang on a second. I'm going to say 2020.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right, Chris, question number 4. According to Food Network, where was the chimichanga born? Hint, this state is also home to the Painted Desert.
I'm going to... Arizona, final answer.
All right. Let's bring back Carey Davis. Chris, how you feeling?
It's hard to tell.
Okay.
It's hard to tell.
We'll see what CD.
Some good random questions. We're going to find out whether I've got useless information or not.
There you go. All right, Carey's going to plug in his headphones right now. Carey, how's the cone of silence?
Yeah, it was silent.
Really quiet.
Yeah, really quiet.
No Mike Ryder today.
Let you
just chilling.
let you focus.
Locked in.
All right. Carey, are you ready?
I am.
Your category is random today. Random trivia.
My record in random. It is terrible.
That's not true.
I think it is. I think my record in random.
I think you're way better than you thought.
Carey, you're 11-10, so you're one game above 500.
See?
Cardinal-like.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Before Lewis and Clark completed their legendary expedition, Meriwether Lewis served as whose presidential secretary?
Come on, Carey. Local history.
Oh, man. Options.
Oh.
John Adams, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson.
Oh. If I'd have known it was that early on in life, I mean,
Did you not learn about Lewis and Clark in school?
Clearly. I'm 43 years old. I don't remember what I did yesterday.
I remember going over Lewis and Clark with my kids going through school. I'm Canadian.
John Adams, final answer.
Question 2. This is probably more for you right here. Question 2.
Damn.
Apart from toast, what is the Teletubbies' favorite treat to slurp?
Apart from toast,
Yeah.
favorite drink to slurp?
No, I'll try it again. Okay? Apart from toast, what is the Teletubbies' favorite treat to slurp?
Favorite
Carey?
treat? Options.
Is it Tubby Custard, Tubby Tea, or Tubby Tonic?
Well, Tubby Tonic sounds like you might get drunk, so I don't think that that's it at all. It got to be Tubby Tea to go with your Tubby Toast. Final answer.
Okay, question number 3. The Knicks have acquired 4-time All-Star Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves. When did Minnesota make Towns the first overall pick of the NBA draft?
Oh, man. What year? How many years has he been in the league? So you said it's a 4-time All-Star. I want to say 2018 or 17. He's been in the league about 7-8 years. My initial thought was 2017. I feel like it's either 18 or 17. Or it could be 19. I don't think it is. Give me 2017. Final answer.
Question number 4, Carey. According to Food Network, where was the chimichanga born? And here's a hint. This state is also home to the Painted Desert.
The Painted Desert, you say?
Yeah.
Chimichanga, you say? So I'm thinking somewhere in the Southwest. What? Southern, for sure. I don't know. New Mexico? My initial thought was Texas. I don't feel like... Can you read the question one more time, sir,
Sure.
please?
According to Food Network, where was the chimichanga born? Hint, this state is also this state is also home to the Painted Desert.
Oh, man. Go New Mexico, final answer. Probably should have took the options on that one.
Okay. Let's go over these. Chris versus Carey Davis in random trivia.
Oh, good.
Question 1. Before Lewis and Clark completed their legendary expedition, Meriwether Lewis served as whose presidential secretary? Chris, without the options, you said Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh, well.
Carey, with the
that
options, you said John Adams. Correct answer is
Well, John Adams was an option, but it's Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. Well, TJ is the correct answer. 0-0 tie between Chris and Carey Davis. Apart from toast, what is the Teletubbies' favorite treat to slurp? Chris, you said Tubby Tea. Carey, you also said Tubby Tea. Correct answer is
Tubby custard.
That was actually really good.
so
Disturbing, but really good.
Still 0-0.
Going great.
Yeah. The Knicks have acquired four-time All-Star Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves. When did Minnesota make Towns the first overall pick of the NBA draft? Chris, you said 2020 without the options. Carey, you said 2017 without the options. Correct answer is
2015.
2015 was the correct answer. Your options were 2015, 2018, and 2019.
Good grief. Well, I would have said 2018 either way. All right.
Score check.
0-0.
Carry the one.
Yep. Be patient. Be
Zero.
patient. 0-0. Okay, thank you, Jamie. Comes down to this. Maybe. According to Food Network, where was the chimichanga born? Your hint, this state is also home to the Painted Desert. Neither of you took the options. You both felt confident in this. Chris, you said Arizona.
That's a good one.
Carey, you said New Mexico.
That's a good one.
Your options were Nevada, New Mexico, and Arizona. If it's New Mexico, Carey wins in a shutout. If it's Arizona, Chris wins in a shutout. If it's Nevada, both of these gentlemen are shut out, and we got to go to a tiebreaker.
Oh, man.
Chris.
You have chosen wisely.
The correct answer is Arizona. Chris gets 2 points. He beats Carey 2-0 in the ultimate defensive struggle today. Chris, congratulations. You get to celebrate all weekend with Sawyer.
Oh, man.
I will do that.
Good job, Chris.
Nice job, Chris. Congratulations.
Defensive struggle.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Chris, hey, man, looking forward to Monday already with you. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you on Monday.
All right, sounds good. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
See ya.
Bye.
I like Chris.
He was a good guy.
Nice guy.
Yeah. That's why I didn't beat him, clearly.
Yeah, Marsh's
got to do it.
So, Carey Davis will receive 7 to 10 minutes in the penalty box. He's got to go to the penalty box.
Should he be outside the window for a zero score?
Probably should.
Just see him standing outside the window for 10 minutes.
He's just going to still talk to us.
Hard, man.
I hate random. Out of all of them, I hate that category. All right, so Carey will go again to the penalty box. It's a fast lane on 101 to ESPN. Let's get into let's go back to Monday Night Football. So Baker Mayfield, Jamie, you're kind of watching him, and man, what have the Bucs unlocked with Mayfield? What have the Vikings unlocked with Sam Darnold? Why were these guys so poor? It was so bad in other areas, and then the Bucs and the Vikings get these guys, and all of a sudden we're like, man, these guys are damn good. We'll get into that conversation next on 101 ESPN.
Time for Tubby Bye-Bye. Time for Tubby Bye-Bye. Time for Tubby Bye-Bye.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. The Thursday night football game was highly entertaining. I thought the Falcons were going to lose that thing 700 different times, including when they had a field goal blocked. Bucs get the ball back. They go down the field. Jesse Bates, who continues to be worth every penny they paid him 2 years ago, punches the ball out. Falcons go backwards, actually, and give the ball back to the Bucs, but wound up benefiting from a. Go ahead.
Okay, I got a question for the football guys here, the gridiron guys here.
Well,
I mean,
oh no,
what happened? Anyways,
podcast coming soon. Coming soon.
Hey,
under construction.
Yeah. First episode still available. Okay.
Hey, first 2 episodes.
Okay, sorry, that's right.
You're looking for week 3. We're behind
a little bit.
Yeah,
but you'll make up for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm watching that game, and obviously I'm watching because I want the Bucs to win. And the Bucs get the ball back with 1:45 left on the clock. Guys, that game has to be over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you agree?
Yes.
Like, there's no way in, you know what, that you can give the ball back to the Falcons at that point. You have to find a way to run the ball, get a first down, run the clock down.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
What did the Bucs do wrong in that moment? Because I'm trying to figure it out. Because that game should have been, like, in the books.
Yeah, you're right. The penalty. The penalty got him. So, first of all, the referees missed a face mask on Bucky Irving on the same play that the Bucs got called for holding. So that could have been negated. And if it's negated, then you're right. I mean, they got to run the ball. At that point, it's you force Atlanta to use all 3 timeouts.
Yeah.
You pick up 2 first downs. Game's over. You're done. But because they went backwards, now you're in a spot where you have to run the football because, again, you have to get Atlanta to use its timeouts,
right.
But you can't throw. And now Atlanta knows you can't throw. So it's a tough spot. So it wound up being a situation where they had to punt and take their chances, but the penalty killed them. But you're right, Jamie.
I just was like watching that and going like, what the hell is going on here? You
the one thing
celebrating.
Yeah, you should be. The one thing I've taken away from watching Atlanta work their 2-minute offense. This is the second time they've done it with 0 timeouts. They did it against the Eagles when they were able to drive down and win that game. They did it last night. They didn't have timeouts. They were able to manage the clock properly, get the first down, Drake London get down, spike the ball. Like they worked that 2-minute offense extremely well. And going forward, there's going to be some teams. You say you can't pass in that situation. You probably shouldn't. But you're going to have to get the first down because giving the ball back to Kirk Cousins with a minute left, he's able to take them all the way down the field and find a way to score and find a way to win games. So that's what I've taken away from Atlanta Falcons. They are, as much as we talk about Kirk Cousins and, he's not good, but what he's done in those 2 instances has been really good, and he did it last night. It was spectacular.
You know, the offense for Atlanta has been really good, and we will get to Baker Mayfield on the other side of this. But, you know, Carey, you bring up an interesting point there. This twice now they've rallied with under, a minute left and no timeouts. Like you said, in Philly, and then last night against Tampa. If you throw they didn't win it, but if you throw the Kansas City game in there, too. That was another one where they drove deep into, opponent territory and had an opportunity to potentially win that game. Yeah. They did it in 3 different ways.
Yes.
The Eagles, they attacked the sidelines because somehow Vic Fangio's defense, they just allowed them to, which is it's ridiculous. But Cousins attacked the sidelines against the Eagles, and he attacked the middle of the field against Tampa. If I remember correctly, they ran the ball effectively against Kansas City until the point where they, bowled and stopped them. But if you watch the post-game show, Kirk Cousins said something kind of fascinating. Typically, you don't want to throw in the middle of the field without any timeouts. Right. It's obvious. Even if you catch the ball, even if you get a big gain, can you get to the line of scrimmage? So the Falcons didn't want to do that. So Zach Robinson kept saying to Kirk, it's got to be to the outside. It's got to be the outside. It's got to be the outside. And then, according to Kirk Cousins, Zach Robinson, the OC, said, you know what, Kirk, we got to take a shot in the middle of the field. See what you could do. So he threw that rope to London. Like you said, they got up to the line of scrimmage. They got set, spiked the ball, and they wound up tying the game.
You know what that made me think of? A few years ago, Chase Claypool, I think they were playing the Vikings, had a moment like that where he caught the ball. He's celebrating.
Yes.
Ball gets kicked around.
Yes.
And nobody gets, and they're unable to continue to go forward and get the win and win the game. But that is an offense where those are scenarios that you practice. You practice 2-minute offense. You practice hurrying up and getting on the ball. What we used to do was run the ball all the way to the official if you were the one that was carrying it. Now, teams have gotten so smart, they hand the ball to the center. They know the center is going to be lined up. He hands it to the referee, who basically just sits it down.
Yeah.
Or if the center sits it down, he'll move it an inch. And so now you're ready to go. So they have figured out, like you said, the sidelines were probably not going to happen. You throw the ball quickly to Drake London, catch it, get down. I was screaming now. Get down. Why are you? But he knew he had enough time, picked up enough yards, ran, got the first down, spike, and you found a way to kick the game-tying field goal to take you in overtime.
And
I
then
thought they did a spectacular job.
As soon as the Falcons got the ball in overtime, I mean, right away, Tampa's tired defense has to go back on the field. It's not unlike, I hate bringing this up, but it's not unlike the Super Bowl. When they lost the coin toss, you knew New England was going to take it right down the field because Atlanta was gassed at that point. All right, let's flip over now to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield didn't throw for a lot of yards last night, didn't have to, but the ball placement. I mean, the one play to Mike Evans that was excellent. That was just an excellent design where he rolls out and he's got Mike Evans coming across, busted coverage.
It's a great play call
in Atlanta secondary because they're playing man to man. That was one. The throw to Mike Evans. Kind of corner. I don't know. Was he running a corner?
Yep.
So he's running a corner route, and he gets behind the DB, and Mayfield's just got to float it over there. That was perfect.
How about the pass to Sterling?
That was amazing.
That was
like,
unbelievable.
That's what I told
amazing.
you in the office. I'm like, they got Baker rolling out, and this time he rolled out and didn't go to the guy underneath, which was Mike Evans' first catch. There was a fantastic play call on that one, by the way. This time he rolls out, and everybody is headed in the same direction, and he just lasers one in between like 3-4 different hands right to Sterling Shepard in the end zone. That's the one that got my brain thinking, how has Baker Mayfield gone from can't play in the NFL to an elite quarterback? And I'm not using that word loosely. I'm not. Because if you look at him last year with the Bucs and you look at him this year with the Bucs, is he Patrick Mahomes? No, I'm not suggesting that kind of stuff. But I'm suggesting that when this guy's playing and he's on his game, which is more often than not right now, he's executing. He's moving that ball downfield. The stats back up what I'm thinking, too. So how does that happen that Baker Mayfield goes from, this guy can't play, just get rid of him, cut him, who cares, can't play, to now you'd have to have a serious trade, if there even is one, for the Bucs to accept it. Now, of course, if it's Patrick Mahomes or Baker Mayfield, you make that. I'm talking about like where a team would try and pick up a quarterback. You'd have to give up so much just to get Baker Mayfield, who nobody wanted not too long ago.
I think so. Baker, to me, he got a raw deal in Cleveland. He took them to the playoffs. He's a guy that was able to have success. Then you had that whole fallout with him and OBJ where, OBJ's father was saying, we're not getting the ball, and OBJ left. And then it kind of, people just have a perception of what Baker Mayfield is based on, I think, honestly, what Johnny Manziel was. I think they view them as the same person in terms of how they are as quarterbacks. Baker likes to have fun. He likes to do all the things, but he's a much better quarterback than Johnny Manziel was. And so he just kind of got a raw deal. He had 3 or 4 different head coaches, which brought 3 or 4 different OCs while he was in Cleveland. You get out of there, you go to Carolina, and that we've seen how dysfunctional that has been over the few years. And then he goes to Los Angeles, and him and Sean McVay figure something out. In 3 days, he has a great performance, and you're like, okay. Get signed to Tampa, and now you're starting to see when you are in an organization and when you are with coaches that have a clue as to what they're doing, you become a better version of yourself. We've seen it with Geno Smith. We've seen it with Sam Darnold. Now we're seeing it with Baker Mayfield. Like, guys they aren't necessarily busts. They just aren't in positions to have success because they're around coaches that may not have a clue or may not understand how to help you do the thing that you do the best.
He's also playing for a better team. Let's be honest about that too. I mean, Tampa Bay they won the Super Bowl, and it was because of Tom Brady, but it's not like they didn't have talent on both sides of the ball. Last night, Atlanta's got no pass rush at all, and they played a lot of zone coverage. It's why I had Baker Mayfield going over 240-something yards in bet the board. Now, he had a great game. He just didn't throw for a bunch of yards. Yeah. However, you saw what my thought process was. He was going to have a lot of time to throw.
Yeah.
I think Baker Mayfield is really the same guy that he was in Cleveland. He's somebody that he can pick you apart. He's got a good enough arm. He's got enough athleticism to do what he did last night. If the pressure's in front of him, he's going to struggle. We've seen that. But it's happening less because he's got a better O-line, he's got better weapons around him, and he's got an organization that believes in him. And I think he's in a better system too.
And I said it to you in the office. I think the play calling has been fantastic for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And the OC totally understands what he has at quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he shows several different looks. He'll be up under center for certain plays. They'll use the play action. And then once the play action happens, he's using his feet to find an area. When the walls come crashing down, he's running the ball because he's able to do that.
Yep.
And when the pocket starts to crash down on him consecutively, then the next play, it'll be a snap to Baker Mayfield, who rolls out and gets away from that pocket, gets away from the oak trees, and finds somebody downfield. I think the play calling has been fantastic, and I think it's genius to have designed most of the playbook around what your quarterback can and cannot do.
Absolutely, yeah, you have to, right? I think so many OCs don't do that, and it falls apart.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's not. You'd think that's the smart thing to do, but it's not an automatic.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And you see that when quarterbacks that are really good have no success. Like, look at Lamar for a while. Like, not that he didn't have success, but he had the offensive coordinator that just was kind of basic.
Right.
And it wasn't really showing what Lamar could do, and that offense was kind of stagnant at times.
Yeah.
So play calling and the offensive coordinator, that's a big deal.
There's no replacement, too, for experience. Like
you're right.
You saw the one play last night. So to your point about Baker Mayfield, perfect play call is against man-to-man. Bertrand, the middle linebacker for Atlanta, he's a rookie, 5th-round pick. He's in there because of injuries. And they showed it. As soon as Bertrand, vacated the area to cover, I don't know if it was a tight end or slot receiver, Mayfield goes, okay. And he ran 15 yards up the field. So that's experience. It's like, hey, if I know what I'm looking at, I know that linebacker, he's going to vacate that. Bertrand's his head's spinning because he's a rookie, and Mayfield took advantage of it. So it's a lot of things that have come to play here.
Everyone's wondering, including the 636. Is Baker Mayfield no longer shaky bakey?
I have got to drop that label. I think we kind of tried to drop that label last year, but the nickname was so good that we stuck with it, but he's no longer shaky bakey.
I feel like you should still call him shaky bakey. Just because,
but he's shaking now.
Just give him shake and bake.
Shake and bake. Shake and bake Mayfield.
Shake and bakey.
Yeah. And Kirk Cousins, we've already anointed. He's Kirky football now.
Shake and bake. I'm more of a Magic Man and El Diablo type guy.
That'd be Magic Man. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have our Sports Six-Pack next. 314-399-9646 is where you can send your questions. We'll answer them next in the Fastlane on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Turner Ward is out as the Cardinals hitting coach. We discussed that earlier in the show. If you missed that or anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our full shows there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We talked earlier about the Blues as they defeated the Dallas Stars last night in overtime. Preseason action for you. So the Blues with a 4-3 win in overtime. Anthony's Atlanta Falcons picked up a win in overtime on Thursday Night Football, 36-30 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. City SC, they'll be in action tomorrow, taking on Houston with a start time of 7:30. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up next. So if you have a question you want to send our way, do so using the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Six-Pack coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Suffering from ED or PE? Your first treatment is free at ParamountMen'sMedical.com.
Well, Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter, and here's Andrew Marsh with your questions via the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Didn't catch that one that time.
No.
It's okay, Jamie.
Question wasn't Carey's propane tank.
Yeah, no kidding. Question one, please.
Question number one.
All right, from the 314, I don't like the Blues' early schedule. They will play teams who don't yet know they are bad. Could a bad start for the Blues have Drew Bannister on the hot seat?
What bad teams are they playing? Are they suggesting the San Jose Sharks? No offense, Anthony.
None taken.
Maybe the Kraken?
Kraken's going to be a good team. You know, they missed the playoffs last year, but they were in the playoffs the year before. They're still a fast, young, skilled team. That's going to be a challenge. Then theoretically they're playing a lesser team in San Jose, but San Jose has done a really good job in the offseason of building a better team. I'm not saying a good team, but a better team.
Sure.
And then they got the Vegas Golden Knights. Ooh, that's still a good hockey club. And then you come home and you play the Minnesota Wild. Like, where's the tap-ins here? I'm not seeing it.
Not following.
Tap it in.
Yeah.
Tap it in.
I don't think there's any worry about that. I think the Blues just have to worry about their style of playing and worry about that, because right now you can't really assess other teams because you haven't seen them for real yet.
Good. Cool.
Question number two.
All right, this one comes from the Water Boy. Do you guys agree with this statement? I feel like the NL Central is the MAC, while the Central Division in the NHL is the SEC on steroids.
No,
the NL Central is the MAC. Well, Anthony,
the MAC is competitive
within itself.
Yeah, I can give you a broader view of how people outside of the MAC view the MAC. And it ain't great. I had a guy tell me one time, Sean Phillips.
Fantastic.
Sean Phillips for the Purdue Boilermakers went on to play, I think, for the Los Angeles Chargers, San Diego at the time. We were getting our butts kicked when I was at Old Illinois. He's like, man, you guys suck. You stink. You guys belong in the MAC. That was the worst insult I think I've ever heard in my life.
I can't look at him right now.
It was so serious, and I was so mad. I just want to give you the view of how other people see matching.
You got to tune into the YouTube channel.
Sorry.
Coming from
Sorry
you.
to be the bearer of bad news.
Coming from you, Carey?
Yeah. We're in the Big Ten. I'm sorry.
That really hurts.
This is not me speaking. This is what other people view the MAC as.
How do you view the MAC? How do you view the MAC? Don't look at Marsh. I'll let you look at me just this once. How do you view the MAC?
I thought Northern Illinois had a huge upset against Notre Dame earlier this year. That's probably the best game you're going to see out of the MAC all season. No offense to the MAC.
So do you not think that the MAC can produce...
No, they can produce talent.
Super Bowl winning quarterbacks?
Super Bowl winning? Multiple?
Yes.
Or
No, multiple.
I'm sure they probably do have one or two.
They do.
Do
Ben
tell.
Roethlisberger, your old quarterback.
He did go to Miami, Ohio.
Come on, man.
Do you got another?
I'll find one.
I said Super Bowl wide receiver.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Travis
Central
Kelce.
Miss got to be proud of that
Thank
guy.
you.
Didn't Travis Kelce go there?
He went to Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, sorry. They're not the MAC.
What are you sorry about? Ben Roethlisberger, your quarterback.
J.J. Watt goes?
He went to Central Michigan for a semester.
See?
They told him he had to play defensive end. He goes, go chase yourself. And he went to Wisconsin. Wisconsin goes, you're going to play defensive end. He's like, okay,
cool.
Now he's going to be Hall of Famer.
Now he's a Hall of Famer.
Hey.
Yeah. How could you?
I forgot about Ben. You said
forgot about Ben Roethlisberger.
You said multiple.
He did say multiple
He
quarterbacks.
did win multiple Super Bowls.
I think
you
he
said
meant
multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to look it up.
Okay, find me another.
Okay.
Where did Jimmy G play?
Yeah, he
went
went
to
to Eastern Illinois. That's
He
not
went
the
to
MAC.
Eastern Illinois, yeah.
I'm trying to help you out here.
I appreciate that.
Start
but,
naming off bad schools, and I
Come
think
on,
that they're in
man.
the MAC.
Did your school even have a football team?
Yeah, that's a great
They did.
question, actually.
Didn't they have
Did I
football
go
team?
to a game? I went to 1.5, actually, throughout my 4 years there.
They had a good football team.
Half.
Yeah, I went for a half.
That's great.
Really, really
Are you Googling it?
disrespectful. Yeah.
He's trying.
Anthony, we're FCS. That doesn't count.
Randy Moss went to Marshall.
He
That's
did.
not in the MAC.
Yeah, it is. It was
Are
at
they?
one point.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
It was when he went there.
What did he ever do?
No, he's pretty good.
Anthony,
Hall of Famer.
when I was in school, my school
He went there because of some
He was kicked out of some other schools. He got kicked out of Florida State.
Still,
And
he
Notre
was
Dame.
in the MAC.
Okay.
James Harrison went to Kent State.
When Bobby
did.
Bowden looks at you and says, I don't think I can help you stay in this school. You've got some issues.
You know, Carey, this is honestly
I'm
coming from
telling
you.
This is not me
Ben
speaking.
Roethlisberger, two-time Super Bowl champion. You love James Harrison.
Said multiple
Kent State.
players. Okay, Julian Edelman as well. There
Thank
go.
you.
He was a
Super Bowl quarterback. Jason Taylor went to Akron.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Michael
Antonio
DeBurner
Gates
Turner.
played basketball at Kent State.
Michael DeBurner Turner.
This is
Some guys, man.
Jack Lambert went to Kent State.
Some guys.
Is his
Jason
family
Taylor
own
went
the
to
airport?
Akron? No, I don't think that's
No,
No,
different Lambert.
different
yeah.
Lambert.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm appalled. I'm absolutely appalled.
You said multiple quarterbacks, and I said who?
Chad Pennington.
He didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
He was there.
Played
in the NFL.
He played.
Oh, you know what? I'll give you one. Byron Leftwich.
He went to Marshall. Yeah.
He won a Super Bowl.
With who? Oh, with you guys? So you had two MAC quarterbacks on your team.
We did.
And you're spitting this garbage today.
It's okay.
And James Harrison with the biggest play of that game.
Yeah, he's a MAC guy. You know who made the
MAC? The MAC helped you
know who
win
made
that
the-
Super Bowl.
No. You know who made the touchdown?
It's Antonio Holmes.
What school did he go to?
He was Miami? It's Antonio Penn State?
Nah.
Illinois.
Ohio State.
Central
right.
Michigan.
Big Ten. All right.
By the way, Anthony, when I was in school, we were part of the Big Sky. Ever heard of it?
Montana State. Montana. Of course.
Oh, yeah.
That's some good football. Is
Of
Idaho?
course.
Is Idaho in there? Idaho
Of
State?
course. The Vandals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Idaho
Yeah.
State in there too?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah. Well, no, we're not.
listen,
We're
that's
not
big.
in there anymore. I think we're in the Missouri Valley Conference now. But you know,
NBC. Who can keep up with all these conferences at this
how
point?
can you?
Right.
Should get rid of them.
Yeah.
No,
Just play
don't get
ball.
rid of them.
So the NL Central is the MAC. Got it.
No.
No. Gotcha.
I'm so ticked off. I'm so ticked off.
So bad.
It's so
Question number
disrespectful.
3.
Anthony, you brought up James Harrison. We got a question from the 314. Who is going to win in the MMA fight? Chad Ochocinco or James Harrison?
You see this, Carey?
No, I did not.
They have signed on the dotted line
my goodness.
for an MMA fight. Now, Chad Ochocinco does train MMA. Like, it's not a beginner thing for him. I don't know if James Harrison does train MMA at all. He is a big, ferocious man, but as we know in that octagon, it doesn't necessarily matter. So, if you had to put down fictitious money on this, Carey,
listen,
where are you going with it?
James Harrison. All day.
I'm going Ochocinco. Have you seen that guy?
Yeah, I have.
He's a freak.
Have you seen James Harrison?
Yeah, but he doesn't look like as much of a freak.
Really?
Telling you, he'll gas out quick.
I don't know, man.
He'll gas out.
I don't know.
Debo's pretty tough.
I don't know.
I'm just telling you, it's a different animal.
We'll continue.
Who's your pick?
Debo.
Marsha, your pick?
I go with the Mac. Not Oregon State.
Well done.
Thank you.
I'll go with Chad Ochocinco just because he likes eating McDonald's, and so do I. So I'll just go with that.
It's a nice connection there. You personalized it. That's
I
good.
did.
Yeah. All right, we'll carry over our sports six-pack. Can't believe you, Carey. Sorry. Carried over next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Suffering from ED or PE? Your first treatment is free at ParamountMen'sMedical.com.
We'll continue our Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh.
Question number 4.
From the 314, who is the best pure athlete you've ever played with / against?
Best pure athlete. Ugh. Okay. Trying to think. I played with a lot of guys. Yep. Said it. Sergei Fedorov was a really good athlete. Trying to think of other guys that.
Yeah, we're not talking about best player, right? We're talking about
best athlete. Because I'm trying to think of guys that were teammates or even played against that were involved in other sports too. To a lesser degree, the Blues drafted a guy way back when. His name was Chris Kennedy. He played college hockey at Denver, drafted by the Blues, played a little bit in the NHL, but he was also drafted by the Dodgers to play baseball. So I'd say that's a pretty good athlete. I'm trying to think in my head if there's any other guys that I know that were like double sport drafted that played college something.
Yeah.
I don't know, Carey, what do you got?
I would say played against Julius Peppers, who was a freak athlete. Played college at North Carolina, but played basketball and football. I played with Brandon Lloyd, who, in my opinion, is one of the most freakish athletes. I think he was like the high school state high jumping champion coming out of high school in Blue Springs. He was a freak athlete. I played with a lot of. Troy was one of those guys. Troy Polamalu was one of those guys.
Vic, you played with Vic.
Oh yeah, Michael Vick.
That's a pretty good one too.
But I'm thinking of like guys that, the football aside, like just guys that were able to do other things. And you're like, what the hell is this even possible?
Yeah.
Greg Kiesel was like, I think, an All-American in basketball in high school. And I remember we were playing basketball. We used to play basketball a lot in the summertime. And he's like, CD, just throw it up there. I'll go get it. I'm like, what? You're a D lineman. Nah, shut up. You're not going to go. He said, nah, I'll go. And you didn't matter how high you threw it. He was going to get it.
That's
like,
awesome.
it was, yeah. So.
I just thought of another guy, Daniel Alfredson. Played with him in Ottawa. He obviously a great hockey player. He also played like a high level of soccer, like pro league back in Sweden, like minor, but pro league, and he was an incredible tennis player. So him, of course. And I can't forget maybe the greatest athlete of all that I played with, Barrett Jackman.
Yeah,
Barrett Jackman, quite the athlete.
Absolutely. I see him sometimes at the MAC.
Yeah.
And he's very athletic.
I'm sure he could have played multiple sports at the professional level. Probably a great CFL player.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Punter or something like that.
Any quarterback?
Yeah. So it's a lot of thinking there. I don't know if Barrett's got that in him.
Hey, Barrett.
Love you, Barrett.
Hey, Barrett.
Antoine Randall is another one.
Yeah,
that comes
that's a good
mind. Like, in college, we played against him. Indiana University.
Indiana.
I was like, if he's a fire-up chips, no way.
No. Should have been, though.
Yeah, they didn't want him.
Oh, yeah, like Indiana's.
I mean, he went there and was pretty spectacular. He was. He's really good.
You and I got issues today.
I don't want any problems.
Did you play against anybody like that ended up playing professionally?
Let me think.
With or against?
I'm trying to think in high school if I faced somebody from like a pitcher from that area. I'll think. That way we don't have dead air. There may have been one pitcher.
One more I forgot about. Grant Francis fan club reminds me. Big Z, Zdeno Chara. So his dad was an Olympic wrestler, and so Z was a wrestler too, and then obviously hockey. And he's a marathon runner, and I believe he rode in the Tour de France the one year in the off season. Like,
wow,
yeah. He's a psychopath. He'd go in. I told this story before, I think. He'd go in after the game, and he'd take his shoulder pads and his jersey off his elbow pads and go work out with his lower half on, doing squats with his skates on and bench press. And the one coach, Greg Cronin, our assistant, goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, why would I work out without my gear on?" He's like, "I play hockey with my gear on."
That makes a lot of sense.
Until you roll an ankle doing 500-pound squats because you're on a quarter-inch
The skate still makes sense, but I guess the pads make sense.
It was interesting. He's a good dude, though.
To say the least.
Question number 5.
From the 314, do you think Skip Schumacher would ever join the Cardinals organization or front office?
Yeah, why not?
Well,
I don't think there's any bad blood there.
No.
I think he got an offer to go manage the Marlins, and he took it. I don't think it had anything to do with the Cardinals. I think an opportunity to manage. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't do it again if he's re-given that opportunity. But yeah, I don't think there's any bad blood between Skip and the Cardinals.
I think if it was a lateral move or Skip comes in as manager, I think he'd do it. I think if he was asked to come back as bench coach or something like that, I think he'd say, "Nah, I'll pass."
Yeah.
Question number 6.
All right. This one comes from Jigsaw. We know Jigsaw likes to play games. So which team are you putting money on to have the next 5 best years? The St. Louis Cardinals, the Cleveland Browns, or the New Orleans Pelicans?
Ooh. Cardinals. Huh? I mean, the Browns have a massive issue at quarterback. The Pelicans, I don't even know if they still play.
They do play. They got
Cardinals. I know they're going to at least be average.
To have the best record, you said? Is that the question? Was that the question?
Just have the next 5 best years. Like, who's going to have the most success?
Cardinals.
I might go Pelicans. I think on that list, they're the only one. Well, the Browns made the playoffs last year. Pelicans did as well, if I'm not mistaken. Or we're really close.
Cardinals.
Got some, you just want to go Cardinals?
No, you believe? That's what I don't think any of them are great options.
Well, we just got a text from our resident NBA expert, Jackson Piddles Burkett.
Yeah.
And he says it is the Pels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also known as the Flamingos.
Well, to some people.
Depending on who you ask.
Go Pelicans. Jamie, they're the Flamingos. That's an inside joke. So let me. I know we've said this before, but for those that don't know, Jamie, I would ask Jamie when the kids were in preschool, they'd have various days. So like Cardinal Day, Blues Day, Spirit Day, whatever. And when they had Blues Days, I would ask Jamie to record a video so I could send it to Madeline or Killian's teachers, and they would play it for everybody. And, the kids got a big kick out of a former Blue saying, "Hey, go Blue, Blues Day," and whatever. So shot it here at the studio. Jamie crushes it, talking about the Blues. And at the very end, he goes, "Go Pelicans." And each of my kids' classes at preschool, they're an animal. Like Lincoln right now is a dragonfly. So I put the video down. I said, "Jamie, that was awesome. They're the Flamingos." So we redid it, and Jamie said, "Go Flamingos" at the end. But
I almost said Pelicans twice, too.
Go Pelicans.
Couldn't get out of my head.
So Jamie now, every once in a while, will just go Pelicans.
By the way, going back to the conversation we were having about best pure athlete that you've played against, we get a text from the 314. I always find this funny because I feel like we all have a friend like this. But from the 314, my buddy John is probably listening right now, and I've heard many times how he sacked Jeremy Maclin in high school over dad sodas. That one time, back in my day.
The best is always that same guy usually says after, I sacked Mac. It wasn't that good. Wasn't that good back then.
What's your huddle?
If I didn't have the shoulder injury, I probably would have been. It's always a shoulder injury.
Knee, shoulder, or the coach.
Yeah, right.
Coach screwed me over.
Politics.
He didn't like me.
Yeah. Yep. All right. This
played his son more than me.
Yep. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Could the Cardinals adopt the Rays philosophy under Bloom, but also be a team that spends more than the Rays? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN. adopt the Rays philosophy under Chaim Bloom. 5:04, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. So let's talk about first the Rays philosophy. The Rays philosophy would be develop the best farm system you can, knowing that at some point you're probably not going to be able to re-sign those guys. And even if you do, one winds up being, well, he's got some off-field stuff. So, it's just best to not sign those guys, but to eventually trade them and then recoup and get that farm system going again. So it's really all about the farm system and being cheap. I think the better question would be, can the Cardinals adopt the Rays philosophy under Bloom, but also be able to be a club that retains its stud players? So Mason Wynn, being able to re-sign him to a long-term deal as opposed to flipping him for more prospects, right? But can you basically develop the best farm system that you can and really base your roster developments, your roster building off of that farm system? Because if you have those guys, if you have a farm system in place or a foundation in place of young players that are cost-effective, theoretically, if the owner's willing to spend a little bit, you can go out and either add in free agency and don't just sign mediocre free agents, but dip your toe into the better pools, or make bigger trades knowing that you're not going to ransack your farm system. I mean, how many times have we seen with a Juan Soto? That wasn't realistic that the Cardinals were going to do that. Why? They weren't going to ransack their farm system. Can you build a farm system so good that you can go down there, trade somebody, or trade for somebody, and still be able to look at your farm system and say, okay, we're still in good shape? That, I think, is the Rays philosophy.
Or they weren't going to be able to re-sign him, which I think was the bigger issue.
Sure.
Like, you were going to be able to trade for him. You probably could have found some pieces to trade for Juan Soto, but you with the understanding you're not going to be able to re-sign him, or not going to be willing to re-sign him for what he was going to be wanting.
But not only that, but I feel like if Mason Wynn's a part of that deal, and/or Jordan Walker's part of that deal, you devastate your farm system.
Correct. I think having a plan either way, whether it's going and making sure that the farm system is developed to where those players can come up and help your team, or help your team via trade. Like, having a plan and going in that route. I don't care what the plan is. Just have one. Yeah. And make it work, man. Like, have a plan that actually works. Don't be one hand in this pot, 1 foot here. Like, it feels like they're all over the place. So have one distinct plan. This is how we're going to go. And to their credit, I feel like right now that is what they are trying to do. They've made clear, going forward, this is what we're going to do. Chaim Bloom is going to do this. And in a year's time, he will take over this role. This is what he's doing. This is what we're going in this direction. So I think we still don't know what the plans are for the current team and what the business model in terms of what the team is going to look like in 25. Mm-hmm. But I think they are setting themselves up to have a plan for the future so that the team can be better.
I still go back to the fact that they don't really have to liquidate everything.
Right.
They just don't. They're choosing to, which is fine. I mean, they own the team, right? Do whatever the hell you want with it because you own the team. But I just can't wrap my brain around why this focus on development is going to cost so much money that we have to, shed payroll. I just don't get it. And I will forever be skeptical of all of it because there's no paper trail for Joe Public to even find out what they're doing with the money. Mm-hmm. It's like it's going to be the greatest mystery ever. And I don't know. So I just don't see a reason to tear it all down. If you can get better players in here and still develop your youth, then you do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I let Goldie walk. I just don't think there's a reason for that to bring him back. If Arenado's okay going through a reset or whatever, then you keep him. He's still a very able body. Is he what he used to be? Not last year he wasn't, but he seems pretty determined to get back there. I'd like to see what that looks like if he wants to be a part of it. Contreras, I'd like him to be a part of it because there is a certain level of veteran status that you're going to need in that clubhouse from time to time. I'm not suggesting the Brandon Crawfords and the Matt Carpenters. I'm talking about actual players on the team. No disrespect to those guys, trust me. And so I just don't see why you need to shed everything. No, you're choosing to shed everything, and you're trying to look over here because it's all going back into development.
Right.
Or we break ground. after 25 spring training. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're breaking ground anyways. Here's the thing: is that what they didn't explain or nobody asked is the plan was already in place to break ground.
Yeah.
So this whole concept was in place while the payroll is where it currently is.
Mm-hmm.
So why now, all of a sudden, do they have to shed payroll to break ground? They don't. They hit some red tape down in Florida where they weren't able to do certain things, right? That put a pause on the construction, doing all that stuff. It had nothing to do with we don't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they are accounting for money that they're going to end up getting rid of, if they can. And if that is the case, which I don't think it is, I think that's just bad business.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand the whole concept. Like, if you're going development and all that, great. But your team is good enough currently to continue to be at least competitive.
Yeah.
Like 83 wins, we joke about that. But the Cardinals finished, 5 games out of the wild card?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not astronomical.
Yeah.
But it's not. Like, if you get a couple of good seasons, if like Burley takes a step forward, if Jordan Walker becomes what you think, all of a sudden that 5-game window that you missed the playoffs by, it's not 5 games.
Well, okay, so to your point, if you're getting rid of some of these guys, what's it really matter? Like Lance Lynn,
I'm
Lance
totally
Lynn,
okay with that.
You know,
I'm
you're
talking
right.
about positional players.
Okay, so you're right. Paul Goldschmidt then.
That's fine. Yep.
That's it. Who else are you shedding from last year?
They're going to try and shed Contreras, I guarantee it, because they've done nothing but throw him under the bus since he's gotten here.
Sure.
I don't know who else you get rid of. I mean, there were talks of maybe Sonny Gray, maybe Contreras. If you do that, you are definitely shedding payroll and going in a completely different direction. Youth movement, it is evident, it is clear. If you could keep those two guys around, I think you can still put yourself in a position to make a run at the NL Central.
Right. What I don't think they'll do is trade these guys for pennies on the dollar.
No.
Because then you're not really shedding salary. All you're doing is paying them to play somewhere else. That doesn't make sense.
No, they've got to get rid of at least half of the salary from said player.
Right. So that, I think, will be interesting. And if you trade Contreras, you might as well go ahead and try to trade Arenado. Like, why keep one of those guys?
Well, and if you trade Arenado, you might as well trade Sonny Gray.
That, I feel like leaving Sonny Gray there is, you need pitching.
Yeah, fine. Keep him. Will he want to be here? I don't know.
Yeah. Man, this is weird.
It's tough, though, because if you look at his contract, I mean, he is making way more money next year than he did this past year.
It's backloaded.
And it continues to go up.
Yeah.
So,
good luck with that, Cardinals. I'm sure you'll figure it out. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. They will. They'll figure it out in 2028. NFL preview, our Week 5 NFL preview. Which quarterback has the most to prove? Which coach needs a win the most in Week 5? We'll answer some other questions next on 101 ESPN. This is Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsham, Anthony Stalter. All right, gentlemen, NFL Week 5 preview got started last night with the Falcons' exciting win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kirky football put on an absolute clinic in that one.
Your favorite quarterback of all time?
Darn right. Yeah. Actually, my favorite quarterback of all time was honored last night. Falcons Ring of Honor.
Ice?
Yeah, Matty Ice,
Is
Matt
he your
Ryan.
favorite quarterback ever?
Yeah.
Really? What? Not Ben Roethlisberger from the MAC?
No, but that should be your favorite quarterback.
That's funny, Carey. I like that.
Without the Mac, you don't win that game. That's all I'm saying.
You're not wrong.
It's a fact. Without the Mac,
you're not wrong.
You're not a Super Bowl champion.
You're not wrong.
Thank you.
Well, we don't
all
know.
parts had.
What do you mean you don't know? James Harrison went the distance right before halftime, and Big Ben threw the pass to Mr. Big Ten.
There you go.
We know. Anyways, all right, Week 5. Which quarterback has the most approved to you guys in Week 5? Which quarterback has the most approved to you guys in Week 5?
Ooh. You're not going to like it because you hate this guy.
Aaron?
Aaron. Who the hell are you, sir? I know who you were when you were in Green Bay. I don't know you in New York. I haven't seen you yet. Not enough. Like, I haven't seen enough. So, for me, he got issues with the coach. They don't want to hug. Then the coach says maybe we should change the cadence. He's like, well, that's dumb. We should hold people accountable. Like, they got some mess going on up there.
They got some issues. There's no
I don't want no
question
damn
about it.
hug. Get away from me. I'm not changing the snap count. They are angry, and they stink. You lose to the Broncos 10-9. Mm-hmm. What year is it?
Right.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the quarterback for me. That's the one that I need to see something from.
Oh, Joe Boost jockstrap. Anthony's getting chippy with all the Mac hate. See what I did there?
Fire up chips.
Fire up chips.
Yep.
Fire up Illini. All right. That's a good one. Aaron Rodgers is a good one. I got a couple others. Marsh, what about you?
For me, it's Dak Prescott. Yeah, that team has not looked good, and buddy, you're the dude in Big D.
No running game whatsoever.
You gotta.
It's all on you.
You gotta step up.
Everybody's hurt.
Gotta
now.
step up.
Hurt feelings.
No, they are.
Yeah.
The whole defense.
Yeah, Mike Parsons out.
DeMarcus Lawrence
out. Not that he was playing well.
Who else is out? Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks
out.
Yep.
I was told yesterday, if you're one of the highest paid players on the team, it doesn't matter who's around you.
You know what?
You need to go out
Marshy?
there and execute.
That's right. I heard that show too.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I learned.
Dak Prescott got to throw the damn ball to himself now.
Yep. We've seen great quarterbacks do it before. Patrick Mahomes, Marcus Mariota.
Kirky football last night.
Football.
Making a lot of money. Put on a show last night.
So this is a quarterback that has to have a good week?
So the quarterback that has the most to prove.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna go with
Aaron, Dak.
Dacky football.
What's yours?
He's
Derek Carr.
last. Oh.
Okay.
Derek Carr on Monday night.
I've got
in
Trevor
Kansas
Lawrence.
City. Trevor
That's
Lawrence
a
is a
great
really
one.
good one.
That's a good one.
You're 0-4. Like, you've got to prove something, buddy.
And Indy, here's the thing, too. Like, Indianapolis, one, they're not very good. Two, Gus Bradley's their defensive coordinator. He runs cover 3 every play. Like, he's got the most basic defense. If you don't do anything against that defense, Trevor Lawrence, then we out.
And the Colts are horrible against Jacksonville Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And we remember that because your other favorite quarterback, Carson Wentz, playoffs on the line, went down to Jacksonville and lost.
They lose like 52-0.
They got smoked.
Yeah, absolutely
years ago?
smoked. Yeah. But if you're Derek Carr, Monday Night Football, right? I don't think you're very good.
Why not?
You put up a whole bunch of fraudulent numbers the first 2 weeks, and then the last 2 weeks you weren't great. So who are you, Derek Carr? Now it's good defense against Kansas City, but are you a playoff team? All of us are ready to crown you.
I'm waiting on Spags to get exposed defensively.
I don't think how?
Because third down, third and short, they're bringing pressure. They are extremely predictable. You know how you beat pressure? Throw a damn screen, man. Like, make your life easy. Slip the back out into the flat. He's going to be wide open.
Yeah.
It's man-to-man. The guy that got him in man is blitzing. Or they're going to drop a defensive end. Good luck. Alvin Kamara, you're trying to catch a defensive end, trying to catch him. That's the fact that it hasn't happened yet. I'm like, what are we doing?
Sure.
You don't know he's blitzing? The whole damn television, everybody watching knows he's blitzing.
Except
but
for
the
the
quarterback
coaches.
and the coaches? Hell are we doing?
Wow, Bill Reloaded says Spags sucks.
Well, he must be a Rams fan.
Super Bowl champion.
We're Patriots.
He was. He did. No,
Oh, yeah.
in fairness.
Yeah, he did a number on the old Pats.
In fairness, when he was here as a head coach.
Yeah, not the best.
Not the best.
Quite frankly, one of the worst. Honestly. All right. Which coach most needs a win in Week 5?
I'll just keep.
Why don't you just go right back to Why don't you go right back to that Jags well?
Dennis Peterson is praying
Doug,
for
yeah.
a win.
Yeah.
Or Doug Peterson.
Yeah. You know what? It doesn't matter.
I played with Dennis Peterson Jr. Good Lord.
It doesn't matter if it's Doug or David Peterson for the Mets.
How about Peterson needs a win?
Yeah. That's kind of the poster child of this question.
Oh, man.
We could probably go with the same. I mean, probably Robert Saleh.
Yes. Yep.
I can stay with my quarterback. You can stay with Mike McCarthy. Like,
yeah.
Those guys, their quarterbacks got to play well. If your quarterback has to play better, chances are your job is probably somebody's knocking at the door.
Yeah.
Seat getting a little hot.
I'm going to say Matt Eberflus.
It's a good one.
And
the Bears.
you honestly, you can make that case for every week. But, like, how are you winning? How are you losing? More importantly, how are you losing? Like, what does that look like? I know they picked up a win last week. I have them losing this week. I just...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just don't think he's the guy for Caleb Williams, who is supposed to be the next dude. Like, you got to start winning some games. You got to win the games that you're supposed to win. I know they're 2-2. I don't think that's a really good team. So you have to find ways to win.
Joe Boo says Mike McCarthy. I think that's a good one.
That's a good one, yep.
What about Antonio Pierce?
Oh, gosh,
That might be another one.
He had a rough week, dude.
Yeah.
He had a rough week. And everybody gathered, they rallied around you last year as the interim. But now you've been the real head coach here, and outside of that fourth quarter in Baltimore in week 2, you didn't look good. And you're in Denver, and the Broncos have put together back-to-back wins now. So I think Antonio Pierce is an interesting one. Which team will we find out the most about in week 5?
I think we already did. I told you.
The hot Atlanta Falcons?
The Falcons, man.
Yeah.
That's the one team I was looking at like, they win. They are going to show me a lot about who they are.
For me, it's the Bills. Bills are playing a good team.
Yeah. You could go either way in that matchup.
Yeah, either one of them.
Well, yeah, but I think the Bills have more to prove than the Texans. The Texans still have such a young quarterback, and it's like, what if he's going to be some bumps in the road?
Yeah.
The Bills, they've beaten 3 opponents, 2 of them that were not good, 1 of them that had a quarterback that left the game in the third quarter, and then they lost to the only really good opponent they've played. So if the Bills go out there and they wax the Texans, I'm going to be more inclined to say, okay, maybe they're not smoke and mirrors.
Sure.
But if they get beat by the Texans, I'm be like, okay, that's 2 good teams you've played now.
Yeah.
And you've lost both of those games.
True.
I don't believe in you anymore.
How excited are you to watch the Bills lose, CD?
He hates the
I'm not
Bills.
excited. The Bills got Ed Oliver out. They got Taylor Rapp out. They got Khalil Shakir out. Like, they are the walking wounded right now. They got a lot of guys that are banged up and hurt going into this game. And so, hey, far be it for me to hate on the Bills. They're a great team, right?
You hate on them every week.
No, I
You
don't.
do. Like, honestly, it's a little bit
I'm not
much.
hating on them.
Yeah.
I want them to just don't think they're going to win.
You know who I think we're going to find a lot out about? The Steelers. Because this is a game they should win.
100%.
And you just lost to the Colts last week, which is a joke.
Not a good thing.
Steelers are not beating the Cowboys.
And so far, you've been defense and Chris
I know.
Boswell. I'll just keep talking. But the Cowboys are banged up, so I think it's the Steelers we're about to find out about.
I kind of want to go back to this quarterback thing because we got a text from the Air Comfort Service text line. I'm not going to read it. I'll read it once I go through this. I want to read off this player's stats. 904 passing yards through 4 weeks, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
I already know who that is.
You know who it is?
I'm out, yeah. I'm out.
Okay.
I looked it
Who
up
do you think?
earlier.
Who do you think that is?
6 tutties, 5 picks.
904
904
passing yards, a
Passing
QBR
yards.
of 68.6.
Not great.
Not great.
I'm sorry, completion percentage, not QBR. Completion percentage. One could say that he's got a lot to prove.
Could they say that, though? Would they say that? About this guy? Nobody said that about this guy. Hey.
It's not Josh Allen.
No.
He hasn't thrown a bunch of picks thus far. Is it Mahomes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes.
Okay, yeah, he's got nothing to prove. He's
So I said he doesn't have much proof.
yeah.
He'll be
got
fine.
nothing to prove.
They're not fast lane fine. He'll be
No,
fine.
he'll be fine.
He'll be
Right.
fine.
We got a text from the 417. Derek Carr has similar numbers to Mahomes. LOL. Is he a fraud?
Mahomes? No, but Derek Carr is.
Yeah, you can't play that. You got a quarterback that's won 3 Super Bowls.
Oh yeah, what have you done for me lately?
I don't think Derek Carr has a Super Bowl on Madden. So
You know,
let's
Sam
not-
Darnold
Hey,
is...
Derek Carr has good years and election years, Anthony. I've established that a few weeks ago.
well, what about him now?
You know Sam Darnold is leading the league in passing touchdowns?
He's
right
an
up there
MVP.
with Baker Mayfield.
You know the Vikings
Baker
haven't
Mayfield got
trailed in the
one
second
game.
half this year
They've trailed for less than 4 minutes this season.
in the entire game. They've never,
Which
like
means...
ever. That's what you're saying.
They're not going to...
No. What I'm saying is they've only trailed in a game
For 4 minutes.
4 minutes through 4 weeks. Like a total of 4. Like it's less than 4 minutes.
That's the greatest team known to man.
Anthony, stop that. You saying that, I'm switching my pick. I'm taking the Jets.
No, you were leaning that way anyways because you know
I did. I already
that
switched
you were
it.
still
I already switched it.
you found the error in your ways.
Yeah, I did. I got way too ahead of myself.
That is a shame.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just being consistent.
Root for your team, man.
I'm rooting for
I'm
you.
all in now.
Oh, my goodness. Now.
Hold on.
I saw
You
what
didn't
Anthony
root for
did.
him last night.
I did root for them
You
last
didn't
night.
pick him in your pick 'em challenge.
That
Jalen
doesn't mean
Rivers.
that does not
3-0.
equate to rooting.
I'm 3-0 picking against them.
Pick the Bucs.
I know. I'm just saying he loves them, but he won't pick them.
No, I know.
No.
He's good.
The Falcons have won 3 games this year. I've picked
commitment
against them.
Yeah,
Commitment issues.
one could say that you're doing them a favor and you're rooting even harder because you're picking against them.
Thanks.
I'm telling you, it's
Thank
a
you, Marsh.
win-win situation.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a while now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I rooted my cojones off last night for him.
You didn't believe, though. You believed after that final touchdown.
I believed when Kadarius Hodge broke away from that defense and he scored a touchdown. Then I said, yes, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Fast lane. I don't want you. Thank you. No, you're not. I don't want your pride. Not after you trashed my conference repeatedly today.
It wasn't me. I just told you what people say.
Word on the street.
And you're echoing those people.
That does not mean don't shoot the messenger. I'm just repeating what people say.
Okay. Stalter's such a Kirk hater. No, I'm not.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm a believer. I'm a believer after that Eagles game. So I started calling him Kirky football.
Shame.
Biggest question of the day next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We've talked a lot of sports today, including the Cardinals. We've talked NFL. We've gotten into the Blues. If you miss anything from today's show, including our conversations about Turner Ward being out as the Cardinals hitting coach, the Blues picking up a 4-3 victory against Dallas in the preseason in overtime, or Kirky football in the Atlanta Falcons defeating Shaky Bakey 36-30 in overtime. If you missed any of those conversations, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our full shows there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Tonight on 101 ESPN, you can listen to UNLV taking on Syracuse. Pregame starts at 7:30. Tomorrow, Navy going up against Air Force with the pregame starting at 10:30 a.m. and Auburn going up against Georgia with the kickoff at 2:30. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. I got a text from the water boy who is now banned from the show. Lifetime ban.
Why? What happened, Anthony?
He's picking on the Mac.
What happened?
He put the SEC's record against the Mac.
Oh, it's got to be pretty close, right?
It's not.
Carey, what's that record?
113 to 14.
Oh, is that a record? I thought that was what a score would be.
Oh, maybe that's what that was. I don't know. I thought that was a record. Hey, I don't know. We're gonna look these things up.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, guys.
I don't know why I'm laughing so much. It's part of your reaction.
You all pay. Go ahead, Marsh.
All right.
While you still can.
What did I do?
You just did it. You're either with me or you're against me. You're either with the Mac or you're against the Mac. Okay?
Only a Sith deals in absolutes, Anthony. Everyone knows that. Anyways, let's get back to...
I'll Sith the life out of you.
It's not a Falcon win day. Really?
You guys doing this to me? After Kirky Cousins throws for 500 yards?
He did have a hell of a
Kirky football?
This is that's the Big Ten versus the MAC.
Oh, boy. When'd you read that one off, Carey?
That says 327 to 56 and 2.
What's the ATS records? It's the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that matters.
All right, biggest question. Why does the modern NFL have so many low-quality teams / games? And I know you guys are chomping at the bit to answer the question. Let's send it over to the Stephen A. Smith Show, who had Tom Brady on to discuss this very topic. We'll take a listen to Tom, and then we'll get to the biggest question of the day.
I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not? Why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. Mm-hmm. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been. I look at a lot of players like Ray Lewis and Rodney Harrison and Ronnie Lott, and guys that impacted the game in a certain way, and every hit they would have made would have been a penalty. You hear coaches complaining about their own player being tackled and not necessarily, why don't they talk to their player about how to protect himself? We used to work on the fundamentals of those things all the time. Now they're trying to be regulated all the time. Offensive players need to protect themselves. It's not up to a defensive player to protect the offensive player. A defensive player needs to protect himself. I didn't throw the ball to certain areas because I was afraid players were going to get knocked out. That's the reality. Wow. I didn't throw it to the middle when I played Ray Lewis because you knock him out of the game, and I couldn't afford to lose a good player.
mean, he's got a
right.
point.
Yeah, I always like when you just take accountability, right? That's what Tom Brady's essentially saying. Take accountability. If you're an offensive player, you know you're going to get hit. That's the game. Can you protect yourself?
But that's the thing is, Anthony, I can tell you this from the hockey side of things. These young athletes are coming into higher leagues, and they don't know they're going to get hit. Mm-hmm. That's what the rule changes have done. I watched the youth level of hockey here and all over the country, and my boys coming up, and when they're trying to take the hitting out of hockey, basically, you know, and then you get kids that go from youth hockey to junior hockey. Well, junior hockey's rules are a little bit less restrictive, so then you got a kid skating down the ice with his head down the whole time. Yep. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to get nailed. Mm-hmm. And then everybody's up in arms. Well, he hit a defenseless player. No, he hit a player who doesn't know how to play the game with his head up.
Right. Yeah.
And so football's a lot of the same stuff. Is the wide receivers now, the offensive guys are allowed to just do whatever the hell they want without worrying, without giving a shoulder check, without having a little look, because they're protected.
It's getting to the point now where if you see a big hit, you automatically targeting. He's like, no, they have learned to hit them with their shoulder, below the neck, below the head, and it's just football. It's a hard hit. It comes with the territory of playing this game, and everybody is not suited to play the game. Like some people, like he's saying, they're not prepared. They don't know how to protect themselves. And as a quarterback, it is your job to not throw a ball where your receiver is going to be defenseless, where he is going to get clocked. I've had this conversation with many a quarterback. Hey, you throw that ball again, you and I are going to have a conversation, and it ain't going to be us talking. Like, don't throw. I got thrown one in the flat against Michigan. Larry Foote and Cato June both met me there. I'm like, hey, that's not open, man. That's not the correct read. Don't do that again. And so that's on the quarterback to protect the players. It's on you as an offensive player to protect yourself. I played offense. I would not be able to survive playing in the way that it's played now, because anytime a player gets hit, it's a defenseless player. Never mind the fact that when the defender went to make that tackle, the offensive player lowered his self, which means he's a little bit lower. Now he got hit in the head. That wasn't where the target was to begin with. So, it's a tough task, but it also, there's a lot of, like he said, not teaching the game the proper way, not teaching people how to protect themselves properly and how to play the game the right way.
So there's a drill that I used to do coaching youth hockey when the kids were about to start the body checking. Is I'd shrink the zone. I'd take the nets and put them cross ice. Instead of the full ice, be cross ice, and I'd shrink it down to below the face-off dots. Mm-hmm. A really small area to play 5-on-5. And the reason I did it is it forced kids to play the game with their head up, because every step that they took, they could get hit because guys were that close to them. But you're in such close proximity that nobody can really wind up and crush somebody either. Sure. It's just avoiding contact and realizing to play the game with your head up. So that used to help some of the younger players along. But that's, that's one coach, one team. I'm sure other coaches have good strategies too, and I hope they're implementing those strategies. But what I hate now about the modern day NHL game is that every good, clean hit, player has to fight. Let me tell you something. The league was 10 times tougher in the mid-90s and early 2000s. I mean, we know, go back, check the books, right? I laid guys out all the time. Clean. Nobody's skating after me to fight me.
Hey, good hit, Rivers.
But honestly, you'd have guys. So Tim, this is a funny story. Tim Taylor, who now works for the St. Louis Blues.
Toolman.
Yep, that was his nickname. Weird how'd they come up with that? He played for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I was playing for the Red Wings. His defenseman passed him the puck up the middle of the ice behind him. So he had to look back for it. I absolutely drilled him. I drilled him so hard, his skates almost hit me in the back of the head. That's how much he was almost did a backflip. He got up, and instead of coming after me, he skated over to his defenseman and said, "You ever pass a puck like that again, I'm going to kill you." But that's the way the game was, because it was a good, clean hit. I didn't take his head off. But now, every time there's a big hit, clean or not, that's the problem, is nobody understands how the game is supposed to be enforced anymore. So, there's got to be a fight. No. How about you tell your teammate, get your head out of your butt and, play better.
Yeah.
Or you tell your teammate, pass the puck better.
Yeah.
Or actually skate with your head up and realize where guys are at.
Sure.
Then you mix in an occasional, Truba elbow here and there.
But those are the ones you should be answering the bell for.
For sure.
Those cheap shots are the ones. But now every hit. So now you've lost track of what's good and what's bad. You don't even know anymore.
Yeah. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got Bet the Board. We got we got the 3 stars of the day, I should say. And we have the criticisms and compliments next on 101 ESPN.
Finishing work up here tonight. Head over and see my friends over at Twin Peaks. The menu is fantastic. I tell you what, the food is incredible over there. I mean, my guy Anthony, he is telling me all the time about the burgers. His personal favorite is the Billionaire's Bacon Burger. It is fantastic. It's got a little bit of that sriracha pimento cheese, so got a little bite at the end of it. But don't worry about that. You wash it down with a 29-degree beautiful draft, man-sized draft over at Twin Peaks. And coming up tomorrow, expect a full week of divisional series. Those games being played on the TVs inside the bar. They're going to be all over the place. You got college football coming up. I mean, what better way to spend your Saturday than to go have great food, a nice cold beer, or how about a bourbon? They've got an unbelievable selection of bourbons over there at Twin Peaks. And the service is fantastic, too. They treat you like family. They're always smiling. They greet you with a smile. They answer any of the questions that you have. And they'll give you suggestions about the menu. It really is the best place to watch a game, eat food, and have a nice cocktail and enjoy friends. That's Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast available at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app. All brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Time to bet the board. Hey. Off to a rough start. Carey, are you up?
What are the standings right now? Is Carey up or tied with me still?
You guys are tied at 2. I have 1. Anthony's got 0.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Carey.
Shake and bacon.
Aaron Judge, 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. Minus 140.
No chance.
Yeah, I think so.
Guys,
it's pretty
joke.
good.
All right. I will be dipping my toes into the W.
Nice.
Yeah. I've got the Connecticut Sun on my money line, minus 140 against Minnesota.
There you go. Nice.
Give me an Aaron Jones anytime touchdown on Sunday.
Jonesy.
Against his former quarterback in Aaron Rodgers.
Quarterback.
It's my quarterback. All right, I'm going to take the Jaguars minus 3.
Whoa.
They've owned the Colts, as Marsh talked about. They're going to get a win. I think it's this weekend against Indy. Jags minus 3.
They need one. Marsh, mine was for Saturday, too, just so you are aware. They don't play tonight.
Let me put that on here, then.
Okay. Let me add that. UNLV Syracuse tonight. Pre-game starting at 7:30. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock. So UNLV versus the Cuse. They're the orange, Carey.
Yep, they are. Play at the Carrier Dome. Oh, no, that's basketball.
No, they do. They play at the Carrier Dome.
Do they?
Yeah.
Football?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do play basketball.
They play both there. Yes. Yes.
Good
they
job,
play at the
boys.
Carrier Dome.
Good job.
I didn't waver.
You kind of did.
Oh, I
did. I said I did. You know, that's because here's another stat from the Water Boy. The MAC has the highest graduation rates among all 10 NCAA Division I FBS.
Oh, that makes sense. You know what? That totally makes sense.
There you go. So, not all bad for the MAC.
Thank you. Yeah.
Don't know if that's true, but the Water Boy has been spot on. SEC was 113 to 14 versus the MAC. Showed you what the Big Ten was. It's like 300.
How's the Big Ten's graduation rate?
I graduated.
Andy Katzenmoor?
I think he graduated.
Like 2 years ago.
Basket weaving.
Maybe. They don't ask.
He literally had
Listen,
like golf.
They don't ask.
An intro to basket weaving.
that's
what
tough.
you graduated
No doubt. Yeah.
in. They just see that piece of paper.
Okay.
That's all that matters. You know?
Sure.
Whatever I say.
Yeah. I don't have that piece of paper.
I don't claim to say the MAC is better. I'm just saying the MAC is relevant, and we're people too.
You're saying it's slept on.
No. Oh. No, I'm saying we're spicy.
Get spicy.
Get spicy.
Let's get spicy.
Fire up spicy. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, this is from the 636. Hey, guys, can I get a shout-out for my brother Jay? He will be starting a run/walk tomorrow at Wash U to raise money for Rett syndrome, a genetic neurological disorder. He's attempting to do 1,000 laps, which equals 100 miles.
Wow.
Good for him, Jay. Heck yeah,
Let's
man.
go, baby.
Absolutely. Let's go, Jay.
Get some.
Absolutely.
Super cool.
Good luck to you, man.
Awesome.
Good for you.
From the 314, Anthony, you are very good at the rundown of the Gauntlet. You boys are funny fast laners.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
They didn't say
very much.
fast laners. They used the other word, but.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you.
we know.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Appreciate you.
From the 314, Anthony, you make the MAC proud.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
From the 416, the MAC doesn't claim Anthony.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do, Jay.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
Just kidding.
Fire up chips. I'm sure at some point I'll be added to their Wikipedia page.
You
we can handle that right
what's
now.
taking so long. Yeah, we can.
Once I add
actually. It can be done tonight.
One of you guys get on that for me, huh, please?
Yep.
Yeah, it won't be me. I can't figure it out.
And you'll be drunk.
He didn't even deny it.
No, he'll be on Amazon.
Yep. I know how to work that one.
I know your Friday night.
Yep.
Lisa says, guys, have a great weekend.
You too,
Thank
Lisa.
you,
Thank
Lisa.
you, Lisa.
From the 314, Marsh and Antonio are both doing this reverse psychology thing.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
weird. It's weird. I don't like it. Just root for your team, man.
I do root for my team.
Yeah, but you don't
The
pick
only
them in
reason
the
why
pick 'em
the only
challenge.
reason why they've won 3 games is because of me.
No, I
Marsh, tell 'em.
don't think that's how that works.
That's why I'm 4-0.
Exactly.
Well, actually,
We're
I
still-
did pick them in week 1.
Listen,
but
Carey,
didn't count.
We're beating the Rizzuto show 4-0
That's
right
all
now.
that matters.
Just, guys, just keep doing what you do.
Yeah.
Okay?
You got it, buddy.
Let's go.
I did lose last night. I apologize.
I know.
It's all
Just,
good.
just keep doing it.
All right, let's get to our 3 stars of the day. Our 3rd star of the day goes out to Kirky football.
Yeah, Kirky football.
Yes, we like
Yeah.
that.
A little surprised, not number
like
1,
that.
but I'm sure there's a better one.
You just wait. 2nd star of the day goes out to Teletubby.
Yes.
Shout out to Teletubbies.
What was it? Custard?
Yeah.
Telecustard?
Yep.
Yeah. Didn't know. Know now.
Custard.
And, this was a tough one. 1st star of the day. This conference gets no love at all. That's the Big Sky.
That's right. Montana State, Montana, Idaho State. You're absolutely right, Marsh. We do need to give more credit. We do need to give more credit to the Big Sky. Some really good talent in there. Yeah. All right. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Appreciate everybody listening throughout the course of the show and throughout the course of the week. Everybody have a safe weekend. Have fun. Enjoy your Blues. Enjoy the football action. And we'll see you back here on Monday. Again, UNLV versus Syracuse tonight. Pregame at 7:30. Got some football action for you over the weekend as well. For Andrew Marsh, for Carey Davis, for Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Again, appreciate each and every one of you. See you.